not just we've got Barry Bonds, we got Luis Gonzalez.
Bonzo puts a charge into this one.
Tonight we're in the Valley of the Sun. We're at Topped Off. Got a cool 112 degrees this afternoon. Fortunately, though, the roof is closed at the Bomb. And a super setup tonight. Matchup of the second and third place teams. In the National League Western Division, the Giants taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers alongside George Frazier. Welcome to FX Baseball Saturday night. At the outset of this series a couple of games ago, Luis Gonzalez only one home run behind Barry Bonds for the Major League lead, but a different story completely now. Some breathing room for Barry Bonds. 3 bombs over the first 2.
Yeah, pretty amazing in Atlanta. Joel, he hit 5 and 2. Now all of a sudden he turns around here 3 and 2, and Bonds has been hot with 45 home runs right now, on pace to hit 70 to chase down McGwire. Barry Bonds is there. Now, can he keep that pace going? Gonzo, he better look over his shoulder. Not only the home runs at 41, Gonzo looking at a triple crown, 4th in the National League in average. Then you look at the home runs, the RBI totals combined. So this is outstanding.
Couple of very hot hitters getting together. And what an honor to be here tonight as well. Luis Gonzalez bobblehead doll night. It is Goosebump City for all of us associated with FX Baseball Saturday night. FX Baseball Saturday night brought to you by Toyota. More choices, better selection. Experience Toyota today. By Lotrimin AF, get the cure that's proven to kill athlete's foot on the whole foot. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure. And by Just for Men, more than a hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. The San Francisco Giants were desperate when they came into the Bob at the outset of this series. In fact, the Arizona Diamondbacks were in first place to begin the 4-game set. Barry Bonds took care of that, though, with 3 home runs over the first 2. And 11 runs in the series opener. Another double-digit total last night with the San Francisco Giants as they jumped all over left-hander Brian Anderson. Marvin Bernard leads it off against Albie Lopez, Arizona native. Went to bases, Westwood High School. His first career start in the National League as well.
Well, not only that, he was an All-American at Mesa Community College, Joel, and you think there's some pressure coming back home now. There's a lot of pressure on Lopez to perform here because of the club situation. Now, if they don't win tonight, it'd be a game and a half back. They go in tonight a half a game back of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who beat Colorado earlier today, 10-6.
Marvin Bernard leads it off with a single. So 2 pitches into Lopez's Diamondback career, and offensively, our starting lineup brought to you by Nissan. Bernard followed by Rich Aurelia. Barry Bonds' first 3 is Bonds, 9th all-time now, surpassing Mickey Mantle on the all-time home run list earlier this week. Then Jeff Kent, Andres Galarraga, their newest acquisition in his 4th game as a Giant. Armando Rios, Benito Santiago, and Ramon Martinez, Russ Ortiz, and our Sears Home Improvement Scouting Report, George, on Albie Lopez.
Well, fastball 90 to 95, likes to sink it, can cut it away from the right-handers in on the left-hander's hand. A new look, yeah, I'm pitching for 2,000. He'll be a free agent at the end of this year. Lopez not only pitching for a pennant drive, but pitching for security next year as a free agent. Probably one of the top 2 free agents in baseball. Lopez is a pitcher, then Estacio, if he doesn't take his option with the Colorado Rockies, would be the other.
3rd consecutive season for the young man at the plate, shortstop Rich Aurelia of the San Francisco Giants, to put together the best power numbers of any shortstop in the National League. It has been amazing. They rewarded him, and it has paid off for the San Francisco Giants. The security and the confidence that he has displayed at the plate. 22 home runs last year, making 20 last year, 22 the year before. There goes the runner, Bernard. Great jump on Lopez. DeFelice didn't handle it anyway.
DeFelice has a tough time behind the plate with it, but he should know exactly what Lopez is doing. But all of the focus put right now on throwing strikes. forgets totally about Bernard at first. That is his 6th stolen base in 7 attempts this year.
So you talk about the pressure. Albie Lopez coming home. He did perform well over his last 3 starts with the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, but to try to snap the losing streak, try to keep pace with the Dodgers, who already won today, and then probably, 50 passes out there, friends, relatives out there watching him in his first start for the Diamondbacks. Barry Bonds coming up next. Man in scoring position already with an RBI producer at the plate, Rich Aurilia, who's driven in 51 this year to go along with a .338 average, 6th best in the National League.
Well, I'm sure Dusty Baker, with the stolen base, the movement on the bases early, likes to keep the pressure on. You mentioned of the double digits. Opening night, it was against Curt Schilling, the ace of this staff and the starter in the National League. I mean, this guy could pitch. Well, they go out and blow him out of the ball game. Then they go after Brian Anderson. They blow him out of the game last night. I don't think Dusty Baker doesn't want to keep that pressure applied as much as he can on the Diamondbacks. It's amazing. You talk to people in baseball, and being around the National League West in L.A., and they think about the Los Angeles Dodgers, but they're worried more about the San Francisco Giants just because of last year's performance where they were so hot the second half.
2-2 count to Aurilia. Plenty of pressure on a first-year manager leaving the broadcast booth. Bob Brenly as well when we talk about Albie Lopez out there. Home run, a solo shot for Aurilia last night. Front of that taken by Dean Felice off his mask. So it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, that's one of the reasons why, Joe, the people around baseball say look out for the Giants, because Dusty Baker has been managing for a while. He can handle his ball club a little better. Then you got the 2 young managers in Tracy, then a young manager in Brenly that haven't been through the playoff wars or the stretch drive.
Dusty Baker, Sporting News National League Manager of the Year. Got a new 2-year deal from the Giants at the end of last season. Only Joe Torre makes more per season among managers in Major League Baseball. 2-2. Full count. Well, you talk about the Giants and what they can potentially do as the division champions, and they've been there like last year, but they have not been a very good road team this year. In fact, they've struggled until recently. It's their first 3-game winning streak on the road since early in the season. They're only 22-29 away from home. Start the day 5 behind the Dodgers. Now 5.5 after the Dodgers win. Good piece of hitting by Aurilia. One on his bat handle, just fouled it away.
Well, the longer you extend the pitch count on Lopez, the more energy he expels. And the reason I say that is the pressure. We've talked about it here in his first start back in Arizona. And I think that's just one of those situations. He's going to have to put it all back in. And now you face a tough customer. You know, you've got Aurilia at the plate, Lopez on the mound. It's early in the ball game. You'd like to get out of this without any damage, but that's going to be tough to do.
Aurilia leading all National League shortstops in both home runs and runs batted in each of the last 2 seasons. Payoff pitch, and he got away with one. Left it up, but Aurilia couldn't handle it. So a strikeout. Lopez needed it. Now he has to deal with Barry Bonds. Chasing killer, Harmon Killebrew. Mark McGwire at 571, currently in 6th. And Reggie Jackson at 563. Mike Schmidt in the 8th slot. And Barry Bonds at 539 just this week, passing Mickey Mantle, who finished his career at 536.
And people forget McGwire's chasing it pretty hard. McGwire hit one today. Well, this is not a bad move. I know people in San Francisco. Why pitch to him? I mean, there's no reason for it in a ball game against the St. Louis Cardinals with Darryl Kyle on the mound. Tony La Russa elected to pitch to Bonds. Well, he hit one in the seats, a 2-0 start. And the way the Giants have swung the bats, the way they're scoring runs, don't give Bonds this chance. Good move by Bob Brenly.
Well, he's been dynamite in this series, especially against Brian Anderson last night, and then the 2 home runs against Curt Schilling. In fact, a grand slam against Schilling in the opener, his first grand slam since 1998. That's the grand slam going the other way. And last night off Brian Anderson, a fat one over the heart of the plate. Number 539 for Barry Bonds.
And this year, out of the 45 home runs, only 5 to left field, 17 to center. 342 career intentional walks. This year, Bonds, if I'm not mistaken, Bonds has walked this year alone in ball games. People just refuse to pitch to Barry Bonds. 105 walks now, 22 intentional walks.
Closest to him has 78 walks. That's Sammy Sosa, to give you an idea of how many. Protection behind him, Jeff Kent. Now can he come through? 2 on, 1 away. There goes the runner. A great jump once again. Is he off the bag? Yes. They say that Bernard slid past the bag.
Well, good lesson to be learned there. Matt Williams keeping the tag on Marvin Bernard because of the force going over the bag. A lot of guys would sweep tag and pull the glove back. Williams hung with the tag long enough and kept it on him until he was able to apply. You see the foot come off right at the very end. And when it does, look at his momentum carry him all the way up. Then the foot's off, the tag applied, and able to get. Look at Williams' knee. You notice that? Came down in between the bag and the foot to prevent him from getting back.
Bernard, the second out of the inning, after he had his second stolen base in the inning. Barry Bonds was not running. It wasn't a double steal. He was not running into the back end, still stationed over at first. And a different story completely for Jeff Kent, the National League's most valuable player last season.
And everybody says his numbers are down. 14 home runs, 74 RBIs. So he ends up, what, 120 RBIs? Last year, MVP in the 120s.
125 knocked in last year with 33 home runs, 334 average.
Yeah, so I mean, his average is down somewhat now at 291, but still the RBI totals at 74. It's not bad. So many people talking about how Kent would have to protect Bonds more. Well, with the addition of Galarraga from the Texas Rangers, 1-2-3 punch now in the power zone.
Off the end of the bat, live ball for the right fielder, David DeLucci, and it drops in. It looked like he was just jogging in, like he had a beat on it early.
Yeah, he did.
It must have fooled him.
And remember, too, they had a concert here a couple of days ago. When they do, that really messes up your infield and your outfield footing. And so here, I mean, Kent thinks he's upset. He doesn't think this ball's going to drop. DeLucci comes in, and then look at the backspin on that ball. It hit. You can see chunks of grass flying. And Giants still threatening first and third. What an addition the Cat was. Andres Galarraga from Texas, a guy that has been in the World Series, been in pennant drives. What an addition that you have, not only offensively, but defensively also, hitting .429 in a Giant uniform.
He's knocked in 6 runs in his first 3 games. This is San Francisco. And it's ball 1. So Orlando Cepeda at the plate. With the Rangers and Giants combined, 245. He looks just like the baby bull. In that uniform, for some reason, it just kills me when I see him. I see Cepeda. And Cepeda had 8+ great years with the San Francisco Giants before he was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals, and then won a World Series International League pennant with the Cardinals. It's filed away.
Galarraga, one of the few guys tonight in this Giant lineup that has even had a look at Lopez, and that's from his days in Texas this year.
Is it just me, or is that Cepeda?
Now, don't get me started. I'll start calling him Cepeda the entire ballgame.
Cepeda wore number 30. That number has been retired by the Giants. He was a 6-time All-Star in his 8 seasons in San Francisco. It's pulled, just foul. And Galarraga, while we were just looking at 539 for Barry Bonds, Galarraga, you've got to believe he's going to be around next year. He should surpass 400 home runs for his career.
Well, he should, and again, the RBI total will climb, Joel. But look also, most of those numbers coming after he got to Colorado, then went on with the numbers in St. Louis and Atlanta.
Down and away. What a bite to the slider by Lopez. To the Giants, a couple of hits, a walk, but hometown hero gets out of the jam. No score. Welcome back once again. FX Baseball Saturday night at Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix. Unfortunately, the dome is closed. Over 100 degrees all day long. Our Nissan starting lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Craig Counsell, he's been a catalyst. He's in short. And Jay Bell. Luis Gonzalez of the story. He's already set a new home run, single season home run record for the D-backs. New career high as well. Followed by Mark Grace, Matt Williams, good to see him healthy. Steve Finley, David Delucci, Mike DeFelice, one of the newest members of the D-backs, and Albie Lopez. Sears Home Improvement Scouting Report. Russ Ortiz, native of Southern California, George.
Yes, and a graduate of the University of Oklahoma. How about that? Fastball 90 to 93. You knew that was coming. 19-8, a career record in August and September. Master of control, you betcha. This kid throws strikes. He doesn't beat himself. And this has slowly become the ace of this staff. 11-6 right now on his record. You see the rest of the numbers. 331 earned run average. 21 starts. 1 complete ball game. That was a complete ball game shutout against the Colorado Rockies. And he gave up 5 hits in that ball game. And then shut out the league-leading hitting team, the Rockies.
Young man has been on a roll. And he's been a good luck charm as well for the San Francisco Giants. Tonight, his 100th career start, 60-39. His previous 99 covering the last 4 seasons. Look at that batting stance. Craig Counsell looks at it low. Talk about players keeping their hands up. That's the extreme.
Yeah, he does. He really plants the hand so high above the head area. But when the ball starts to approach, he gets him into a nice hitting position. And it's all about timing, all about comfort zone. As a matter of fact, they're a little higher now than they were a month ago. Amazing, though, Joe. Pitchers think you can come in on him. They think they can bust him hard in. As soon as you do, he turns on it. Extremely quick hands.
He went around that time. Boy, it's funny, they were just cheering Paul Schreiber, the third base umpire, for his call on Marvin Bernard.
Yeah.
As soon as Counsell went around, they didn't feel he went around. The field play, you could hear how they felt about it. 1-1. Off his foot. Foul ball, 1-2.
Ortiz lifetime 2-3 against the Diamondbacks. He's 2-2 at Bank One Ballpark with an earned run average of 525, almost 2 points higher than his career earned run average. I really like his delivery for a big kid. I mean, about 6'2", short back step, everything's compact. You never see a lot of body movement. That's why he has such great control of 4 pitches.
He is right at 6'2", George. 210 pounds, originally the Giants' 4th round pick, the June '95 draft. We talked about his college career at Oklahoma. Grew up in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California. Montclair Prep High School in Van Nuys. College teammates at Oklahoma, the Minor brothers, Ryan and Damon, as well as Greg Norton, another major leaguer. That's what Counsell does well. He's got a .358 on-base percentage. They were hoping that Womack would be their leadoff man. He could not steal first, couldn't get on regularly, so his on-base percentage was down, but Counsell may be the answer.
Well, he's going to have to be the answer. Womack, who has suffered a lot of personal problems, meaning he lost his father earlier this year, and it just hasn't seemed mentally to recover from that. Hit a grand slam on Father's Day, a very emotional day for Tony Womack. This is a guy with a lot of speed, a guy that could help him, but he just hasn't been able to swing the bat.
Right over the outside portion of the plate. Strikeout of Counsell. And Arneson around the horn. Andres Galarraga is going to be at first tonight. Jeff Kent over at second. Third baseman Ramon Martinez. Rich Aurelia at short. And around the outfield is Barry Bonds in left. Marvin Bernard in center. Armando Rios out right with Benito Santiago, the veteran, behind the plate. Ortiz with a strikeout. An impressive start. Jay Bell struggling to the plate. Takes it to the outside corner for strike 1. 267 average last year. 260 so far this season. But he spoiled them in previous seasons.
Boy, hadn't he though. I'll go all the way back to the '99 season when the Diamondbacks won the West. 38 home runs and 112 RBIs. Then last year, 20 less home runs with 18. The RBI total only at 68. There's only been one time in his whole career that he's hit 30-plus home runs, and only one time that he's had more than 90 RBIs, or excuse me, 2 times that he's had more than 90 RBIs. That was in '97 and '99 here in Arizona.
A little bit high. There's Luis Gonzalez surpassing the home run record established by Jay Bell this year. And he had 38 in that magical season for the D-backs in '99. Lays off the high one. And it's ball 4. So man aboard. One of the very best in the National League, Triple Crown candidate Luis Gonzalez. Would we have believed that just a few years ago if someone brought it up? The opportunity and the projection for total bases this year, that would be a new Major League record. Babe Ruth 457 back in 1921.
I mean, that's incredible. Look at that. I mean, projection of 458 total bases. You go all the way back to Babe Ruth. Think of all the players from then and now. Tells you how good a year this guy's having.
4th in the National League in hitting, 347. 2nd in home runs. That's barely a wide. Got the benefit of the doubt on that one. 2nd in home runs. 1st in runs batted in on 102. And 4th in triples as well.
Isn't it amazing? And what a nice guy.
You
You know, a lot of guys that are superstars or have become superstars in the game of baseball, all of a sudden they're not fan-friendly, media-friendly. Well, it's not the case with Gonzalez. He's been outstanding throughout the year with the media. And again, you know, it's funny because Bob Brenly says, I'd like to give him a day off. I really would. And Barry Bonds, that reputation he carries with him with the media, is just direct opposite of what Gonzo does. Bob Brenly says, you know, I'd love to give him a day off, but he was a part-time player earlier in his career.
Well, he loops one into right. He's got a base hit. Taking the turn, Jay Bell thought about it. He will not challenge Armando Rios. Runners at 1st and 2nd for the D-backs.
But as a part-time player, when he got in, he loved to play. Last year, 162 games played. Now this year, again, the lineup every day. All right, let's look at it pitch by pitch, trying to work that outside half. Notice they're not going to come in with any pitch. Then they try to go back out again with that sinking fastball. This is what Gonzalez talks about. Because of the open stance and the long swing, and because of the home runs, he's able to hook that pitch and muscle it. And he said the big key to this, the outfield, all of a sudden I'm not a punch and Judy hitter anymore. By hitting home runs, they're playing deeper, so that blue pit's falling in more often.
The National League leader in total bases. And an opportunity to break the National League record. We were just looking at the Major League record held by Babe Ruth. Now there's a National League record as well. That was set by Rogers Hornsby of St. Louis in 1922. 450 total bases, 8 shy, or 7 shy of Babe Ruth. And Mark Grace finally got a couple of hits last night after an 0 for 15 run. Pulls it foul for strike 1. Mark Grace already with 12 home runs. Come on, pop back up. Don't make us hold our breath down there, Golden Glover.
Now look at this. He's going to barehand this, Joel. Oh, no, it's not getting by me. I'll knock it down and get back up.
Well, the goal line is the chalk right there, and he was a former hockey goalie, so he got the hand out. Strike 1 count on Mark Grace. 12 home runs, 1 more than he had all last season with the Cubs. And it's off the end of the bat. In the gap coming up is Bonds, though. It carries out to Barry Bonds for out number 2.
Now, the recent acquisition of Fred McGriff to the Chicago Cubs, none of that would have even been a part of it if they would have brought Mark Grace back. But nobody anticipated he'd have this type of year in Arizona. He's having a great year.
Well, that's what happens when you're hitting in tough luck. He had gone 0 for 15 before back-to-back hits last night. But still, his average coming into tonight, 316. He had it up as high as 330. So it's going to be up to third baseman Matt Williams. Good to see him healthy finally, after the injury problems over the last couple of years that he has had. Last year, basically a washout for Williams, not even 100 games. Downstairs, ball 1. 3 for 5 and an RBI. Scored a run last night as well. But look at the disparity. Almost 160-point difference, a little bit better than 160-point difference on the road and at home.
Just 200 at-bats so far for Matt Williams this year. And that's going to be a difference down the stretch, that if he does stay healthy, the leadership in his bat in the lineup, it could carry them beyond the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Matt Williams against his former teammates, longtime Giant, went to the Indians in a deal that brought Jeff Kent to San Francisco. It's over the inside edge. Don't forget that he ranks among Giant leaders. As we look at our Toyota leaders,
Yeah, look at those
in
names.
home runs.
And look at the names: McCovey, Mays, Bonds, Cepeda, and Bobby Bonds. Barry's father.
Matt Williams in the hole now at a ball and 2 strikes. Missed 47 games prior to the break. Left hamstring, left hip flexor strain problems. Not close from Ortiz. So similar situation. D-backs had a couple aboard, or maybe the Giants had a couple aboard. Could not capitalize in their half of the first. And now a 2-2 count on Matt Williams. Bob Brenly, longtime Giant, playing in a San Francisco uniform. Popped up, shallow right center. Who wants it? It'll be the center fielder Marvin Bernard. That's the final out of the inning. So the Diamondbacks like the Giants strand a couple. Ortiz gets out of it. No score after 1. Red out San Francisco Giants taking 3 in a row, and in the process scoring 29 runs over their last 3. Had a chance in the first inning, but it is still scoreless as we move to the second. And welcome back, FX Baseball Saturday night in Phoenix. Joel Myers along with George Frazier. Leading things off for the Giants, the right fielder Armando Rios, followed by Benito Santiago and Ramon Martinez. Career best home runs for Rios with a .254 average. Rios has done a good job at the power department. Bernard, another story, though. Well, that has been a question mark out there. They've subbed Bernard regularly. His .219 average.
And Dusty made the comment that they really wouldn't be where they are right now if it wasn't for the play of Calvin Murphy. Now, because Bernard has gotten hot and he has hit well of recent days, he's getting to see some action against right-handed starters. And Calvin Murray is going to be your starter against lefties just because of what he has done since putting on a uniform this year with San Francisco. And you talked about Rios, his production, what he's done with the home run total, 13 and 47 RBIs. It's amazing how Dusty Baker can get players to reach to other levels, and he does a very good job of it.
Down the line, will it stay fair? It's bending, and it goes foul off the bat of Rios. Young man that played his college ball at LSU. Made the All-College World Series team back in 1993. So they get it together in center because Rios has been fairly consistent in right. Bonds, beyond Bonds. The last year of his contract might have something to do with that.
Well,
they've got to get it together for the stretch run, though. Whether it's a platoon situation, as you brought up Murray and Bernard, as it's lifted deep to right field, it's got a chance going back to Lucci, and it's gone. And as we speak of Rios, with a career best in home runs already this season, he's got number 14, and the Giants take the lead.
Now, anytime you come into a series and you win the first 2 ball games as a road team within the division, now and you come back out of that 3rd ball game and you take the lead early, it just keeps the momentum going in your direction.
Almost looked like it was jammed, George.
Yeah, one more look at this pitch. It's a fastball they're trying to run back on the inside half of the plate. But what happened, it ran back out over the middle of the plate. DeLucci doesn't have a shot. And Lopez not happy. He can tell by the sound and the results of watching DeLucci that the ball's out of the park, and Rios has given the Giants a 1-0 lead.
In the dirt, squeezing the breaking ball. Ball 1 to Benito Santiago. But Aurelia gave a 1-0 lead last night in the first inning. Rios does it here in the second.
Yeah, what a find Santiago has been for the Giants, too. Not only with his bat, but the job he has done behind the plate in handling this pitching staff. Estalella was the starter at the start of the year, and they thought Santiago would be a guy that could back him up. Well, Santiago did such a great job behind the plate and can still throw from the knees that they decided to get rid of Estalella and make Santiago their starter.
2 balls and a strike last night in the victory in Game 2. Santiago took so many foul balls directly, I mean hard foul balls directly off his mask. It was like a fighter that just wanted to go back into the corner, for a bit of a break. Can I go to the blue corner? Splash some water on me.
Yeah, I was going to say, hit me with the ice water, can you?
Tapped out in front. Tough chance for the third baseman, Matt Williams. Gets him by a step. Anybody else running, George? Probably a base hit.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any question at all about whether Williams is 100%, this will answer it as far as charging. Look how deep he is, way off of the grass behind the bag. As he has to come in and charge. He's going to have to barehand the ball. Look at the position he put his body into to be able to just bend over, pick the ball, and the quick flip to first base to retire Santiago. One more look at it. An outstanding play by about a half a step. Four-time Gold Glove winner Matt Williams, 3 of those with the Giants.
First one over to Ramon Martinez. Held a short stint with the Cleveland Indians before coming home. He went to Shadow Mountain High School here in Phoenix. And what a treat for Matt Williams to play here. Martinez, solid since the All-Star break at almost 350. Breaking ball misses, 1-2.
Well, they really scuffled early because they had Russ Davis at third base. That didn't work out. They traded away Bill Miller in hopes that Davis was ready. He was not ready, so they've had a shuffle at third base. Martinez, since you've talked about the break, has really settled in at third.
Young man is only 28 years old. They picked him up. Got to deal with the Kansas City Royals. Pushes it foul. There remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. So you've got Ramon Martinez, 28-year-old at third. Aurelia is only 29 and in the prime of his career now with all the home runs that he's hitting the shortstop position. So that's fisted out of play. Good situation.
And what it was in San Francisco is Dusty Baker, when he renewed his contract, didn't know if he wanted to come back or not because he didn't know if the money would be spent to keep his ball club together. Then when that commitment was made, then they decided, hey, I'm coming back here as a manager, 3-time National League Manager of the Year.
Ground ball for Matt Williams. No problem. And there's 2 down. Nissan takes us around the horn defensively. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, speaking of a Gold Glove or 2, Mark Grace over at first base. Jay Bell is the second baseman. Third base, Matt Williams. Shortstop is Craig Gonzal. In the outfield, Luis Gonzalez. Steve Finley, a couple of Gold Gloves for him out in center field. David DeLucci in right field. And Mike DeFelice in his first start as a Diamondback, a former National Leaguer. He started his career with the St. Louis Cardinals. Ortiz at the plate, strike 1 counts. Rio started the inning with his 14th home run of the season, 1-0 lead for the Giants. And what a blow it would be to the Diamondbacks after the way they finished last year if they could not take at least game 3 with a chance for a split in the series tomorrow afternoon. 85-77 for Arizona last year. Did they ever fade, though? They were like a 6-furlong horse in a mile race, finishing 3rd in the National League West.
Well, Kurt Schilling felt he was a big part of that because he was under 500 that second half after the trade with the Philadelphia Phillies, and of course he's flipped that over this year.
Right.
And now I think that that's where they're headed. Anytime you can run 2 big horses out there like Johnson and Schilling twice a week, it really increases your chances.
Bouncer over to the right side on a 3-1 pitch, just a fat one. He wanted to try to get Ortiz to hit the ground ball. He did, but it's a base hit with 2 away. Rams National League West standings. Dodgers winners today 10-6 over the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies now losers 35 of their last 40. And the Dodgers, the surprise of all of baseball. With the pitching staff decimated by injuries, chance if the Diamondbacks do not win tonight, they'll be a game and a half back, while the Giants will be 5 games off the pace.
Now, you talked about those injuries to Dreifert, Ashby at the start of the year, then most recently Kevin Brown. But a lot of people are talking about Gagne, who has won 3 straight starts for the Dodgers. They're talking about Terry Adams, who went into the rotation, has won 3 of his 4 starts to run his record to 7-3 now. He picked up the win last night against the Rockies. Some guys you least expected to come out and perform, they're doing it.
And Prokopek has done well. Another one that you couldn't have anticipated was going to do the job that he has done for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Offensively, though, can't say enough about Sean Green. Marvin Bedard at the plate, pulling it through the hole. Station to station, base hit. Will be station to station with the pitcher on the front end. Russ Ortiz down at second. And Marvin Bedard with his second hit already. Not good for Albie Lopez when he is facing the leadoff man the second time already in the second inning.
Now you give up the home run to Rios, then you settle in and get Santiago and Martinez. You make a 3-1 mistake to Ortiz, allow him to get the base hit to right. Now all of a sudden Bernard comes up and you can find yourself in trouble in a hurry because you know Aurelia has more hits than anybody in the National League right now. And Bob Brindley saying, all right, do I go out and settle him down? I got to feel out Lopez as much as he's feeling out the San Francisco Giants, and whether you go pat him on the back or give him a kick in the rear to get him going.
Well, Aurelia's 136 hits. You were just talking about that. He is now number 2 in the National League in hits because Luis Gonzalez got a hit. He's 137th in the first inning. And on the first offering, the short hop for Counsell. Good job to charge it, and he takes care of it. So a couple of more stranded by the Giants. That's 4 over the first 2 looks. But Armando Rios putting the Giants on top early. 3rd consecutive game. Is in the National League, no, not in the National League West, but Barry Bonds is being chased right now by Luis Gonzalez for the Major League lead in home runs. Barry at 45, Luis Gonzalez at 41. And George, you had an opportunity to talk to Luis before the start of tonight's game. Let's pick up on that conversation.
What's interesting, Bonds hits 2, you hit 2. You hit 1, Bonds will hit 2. It's like when you guys get it going together, it's almost, uh-oh, he's getting close to me, I better get going again.
Yeah, and it seems like when he came in here the first night, he kind of got motivated. Didn't he hit 2, and then he hit 1 yesterday. So he seems to know how to rise to the occasion. Now he's pulling away from everybody. So, you know, I've been getting on him and saying that I'm laying in the weeds, and he hates when I say that because he knows that I'm right behind him. But I'm having fun, and I don't let any of this bother me. I know that my game is just trying to get extra base hits and just get on base.
45-41 with Barry, parking 3 over the first 2 games of the series. But his teammates has been real healthy. 8 home runs for the Giants over the first 2 games of the series, or first 2 games of this 4-game set. Only 1 for the Diamondbacks.
And don't forget about that guy 3rd on the list either.
Yes.
Sosa was 35, hit 1 today, and then Big Mac hit 1 today, and Sammy's team in first place. A lot of RBIs for Sosa also. You're talking about a guy that struggled at the start of the year. That was Steve Finley.
Bounces it up the middle, so he's now 9 for his last 17. Well, the leadoff single, speed up on the bases as well, despite the fact that Finley doesn't go after the straight-out steal as often as he did at 35 years of age.
And what he's done, he really keeps his hands back well. See, the hands are out. The feet go, the hands are out away from the body, and he's just able to bring the bat through to meet the baseball. Concentration, too. The head never left the flight of the baseball.
It'll be tough for Finley to duplicate what he's done recently, though, with home runs. 69 home runs over the previous 2 seasons as well, knocking in 199, only 7 and 40 in those 2 categories coming in tonight. But a leadoff single. Get the average healthy. They'll take that. That's the reason that Finley is down in the second half of the batting order at this juncture. David DeLucci on right field instead of Reggie Sanders, who started the first 2 games. DeLucci has done a good job for them. In fact, there's teams talking about potentially picking up a Steve Finley or a Tony Womack before the trading deadline, but not DeLucci. I think the Diamondbacks would like to keep the young man.
Oh, they really would. I mean, Womack is on the block, has been for about a month. But a 3-year contract carries along with that at a pretty high price. So that eliminates a lot of ball clubs out of picking up Womack to use him in the leadoff spot or try to utilize his speed.
Sprays it foul over to the left side. 0-2 counts.
I'll tell you one thing Brindley has done a nice job of. That is the bottom half of this order. He likes to hit and run. He likes to move the runner, steal a base, and create some offense and create holes in the defense. Finley on the year has stolen 7 bases. He's been caught 4 times.
Let's see if something's going on 0-2. Held on by Galarraga. Arizona playing catch-up once again. No, he is not on the move. A ball and 2 strikes to 27-year-old David DeLucci.
Well, Finley looking at two things right now from Ortiz. One, with the big wide stance that he has at the plate. In other words, when he comes set with a runner at first base, he's keying one thing, the left heel. As soon as he sees that left heel move, if it goes up on the backside, he's going to home plate. That's when he can take his jump and head to second base.
Break for the D-backs. DeLucci almost waved that bat across the plate. All SEC performer at Ole Miss. He's even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, another look at it here. One thing that Ortiz does, he spreads out quite a ways when he comes to the stretch, so he can quicken his delivery to the plate to eliminate, at least give a chance to Santiago behind the plate.
Broken bat. Grabbed by Galarraga. A good piece of base running by Steve Finley. So you could hear it off the bat handle. A broken bat looper, and Galarraga, the cat, got there.
Yeah, this is a great look at it from home plate. That cut fastball from Ortiz, not able to extend out over the cat. A freeze by the runner. You freeze on the line drive when you see that it's going to get caught and head back to first base.
He's not happy to be back in the National League, is he? 15 years in the National League, and then he signed with the Texas Rangers. That'll show him. Knows the pitching in the National League as they keep Finley close. He admitted it. It was miserable for him, and he alluded to the situation with Ken Caminetti there. Both barely getting much playing time. Caminetti released on the 2nd of July, and signed with the Braves on July 5th. And Galarraga happy to be a San Francisco Giants. DeFelice pushes it out of play. It is almost a surprise. DeFelice a comfort zone for Albie Lopez, so you can't blame Bob Brenly. But the hottest hitter right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks is their catcher, Damian Miller.
Well, you know, I got an opinion of that, even being a former pitcher, Joel, that you don't take your hottest bat and set him on the bench regardless. You need the offense because you haven't been able to score runs. So now as a pitcher, you get to know Lopez. You can't have DeFelice catch him every start down the road or into the playoffs if you happen to get that far. So go ahead and let Miller get acquainted now.
There goes the runner, Finley, and they've got him in a rundown.
From his knees,
yes,
Santiago. Isn't he amazing?
Still has the gun.
Not out by a little bit either. A look at the jump. The heel goes. Finley takes off. You wonder if it's a hit and run, too.
Got to be, George. Look at him looking back all the way.
Yeah, DeFelice does not swing the bat, maybe not acquainted very well with the signs of the Diamondbacks yet. From the knees, the perfect throw all the way down to Kent. The quick toss over to Galarraga, and they're able to get Finley in the rundown.
Shows 2-4-3. Finley, the second out of the inning. Leadoff man extinguished after the base hit to center. And a 1-2 count on DeFelice. Good point, though. DeFelice, first game, looking down for those signs. Breakdown of communication completely.
Yeah, Chris Fire, the third base coach here with the Diamondbacks.
And that's perfect timing by our guys in the truck because he's looking into the dugout like, don't blame me.
Yeah, don't blame me. I didn't do anything. I gave him the sign. I swear, Skip, I really did.
So an uneventful inning for the Diamondbacks. A breakdown. They waste the leadoff single. Giants looking for their third consecutive. We'll look forward to Barry Bonds leading things off. Barry Bonds started the season with 494 home runs, 45 this year, and he has passed Hall of Famers along the way. Eddie Murray, 17th on the all-time list. Then Mel Ott, Eddie Matthews, who just lost recently, Ernie Banks, Mr. Cup, Splendid Splinter, Ted Williams, Stretch, Willie McCovey, tied for 12th. Jimmy Fox, another former Giant. Mickey Mantle, the most recent on the list, and Barry Bonds down 9th at 539.
Well, in the all-time left-handed hitting home run king at 539. McCovey had held that previously. Well, remember in the first at-bat for Bonds with a runner at second, first base open, they intentionally walked Barry Bonds. That was his 105th walk, 22nd intentional walk of the year.
Sends one deep down the line. Does it have a chance? Up against the wall. DeLucci will get it back in, and Bonds will cruise in with a triple. It sounded like it was in a little bit tight on him.
Yeah, it was. But
Just
that
from the sound of the bat.
and that just shows you the strength of Barry Bonds, too, because it was in on his hands, and surprisingly, still got all the way to the fence down the right field line, 335 feet. Well, they put it right where they wanted to, right in on his hands, but look at that front side open, the power generated by Barry Bonds. You know, look at it, you can even see a few flash cubes in the background when Bonds took that swing. And listen to this, the first triple of the year for Barry Bonds. Everything out in front of him. Sonny Jackson, the third base coach of the Giants. He had a pretty easy job there. Just hold the hands up and stop him.
So Barry Bonds, average-wise, up to 299, and he had a slow start, don't forget, offensively, average-wise.
Now look at the hits this year of Barry Bonds. 93 hits total. 26 singles, 21 doubles, now 1 triple. 45 home runs. Almost 2 to 1.
Bouncer off the bat of Kemp. That'll keep Bonds at third. And it's the first out of the inning. So Counsell throwing out Jeff Kent. 1 for 2 after the base hit in the first. Fly ball hitter coming up, though. Fly ball hitter at the plate. So another challenge for Albie Lopez. Going to get the slider to bite enough to induce another ground ball with Galarraga coming to the plate.
Well, with these two guys, Kent, Galarraga, the infield not in on the grass, but halfway. And the reason why, Bonds, even though he has good speed, it's because how hard Galarraga and Kent both hit the baseball, that if Bonds would go on contact, pretty easy opportunity to get him at the plate.
Huge at bat early for Albie Lopez. Galarraga went down swinging his first time up there. The Giants double digits offensively in each of the first 2 games. They now have 13 home runs over the last 3+ games, but there's another bouncer, and Counsell bobbles it. Will he even get Galarraga? No. He took a peek at Barry Bonds. It cost him, and it's an error on the shortstop.
That's just the 4th error on Counsell this year, which Arizona leads the National League defensively. One more look at it. Bonds going right on contact. A little higher hop than Kent's was. But you see, as Counsell started to catch the baseball, he checked the distance of whether he was going to go to the plate or whether he was going to first base as he glanced to see where Bonds was located down the base path. Then the throw to first base.
So it's an RBI for Galarraga, an error on Counsell. 1 away, 2-0 San Francisco. And the Dodgers looking on in an interesting position. Who do I root for here? I'm up a half a game after, well, at the start of play today on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I go up a game and a half if the Diamondbacks lose. The Giants win, I'm still 5 up.
But you
if
talk,
you're the Dodgers.
If you hear Tracy talk or if you hear Brenly talk, either one of these guys, the National League West goes through San Francisco.
Cold foul. Rios, his 14th home run of the year to lead off the second. His first look at Albie Lopez. Well, the Giants have to start winning on the road if it's going to go through the San Francisco Giants. No team has been able to repeat in the National League West since 1993. There goes the runner, Galarraga, challenging Santiago and coming up empty.
Well, again, I'm not sure if the hit and run was on or not. DeFelice behind the plate, Lopez on the mound. Let's try this combination because Lopez has not been looking or throwing to first base very often. Was the hit and run on this side? Was it missed? Still a pretty close play at second base. DeFelice with the snap throw down, they're able to get Galarraga. That's the second out in the inning and erase the error committed by Counsell.
So Galarraga, and you wonder if he was running on his own, or as you say, the hit and run was on. Rios with a 1-2 count. Giants get the run in already, though, after the leadoff triple by Barry Bonds. And it's right by Rios. With fastball tailing away from the left-handed hitter. But Bonds comes through again. He's the catalyst, and it's 2-0 Giants. 2-0 lead for the Giants as the D-backs here did a hit in the bottom of the third inning. We were just talking about the tight affair now in the National League Western Division race. Bob Brenly's D-backs out of first place for the first time since May 25th.
The Giants are the defending champions. If we want to do anything this season, we have to go through San Francisco and through the Giants, and we know that coming in, and I think they sense the same thing.
Yeah, he's of the firm belief that it's going to be the San Francisco Giants, even though they're chasing right now the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League West. Get back to what was a problem for the Giants last year. The Giants' worst record against any division of the National League was their own division. It was against the West, and they're only 25-24 against the West this year, and they play, because of the unbalanced schedule, 4 times 19, 76 games against teams in their own division. So if they can't improve in their own division, no way in the world they'll get it done.
No, they won't get it done, and right now the best record within the division is the Arizona Diamondbacks at 31-17. Well, it's not the first time that Lopez has swung a bat. 0 for 8 in his career in interleague play with Cleveland in '97, Tampa in '98, and then 2000 with Tampa.
Couldn't tell by the last one, though. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Let me tell you what, as a pitcher, the last thing you want to try to do is take that stick up there and hit this baseball. Mike Hampton might not agree with me with his home run totals this year and RBIs, an average near 300.
He's gone. Strikeout number 3 for Russ Ortiz. Well, Tuesday, Notch hires a new recruit. BJ gets a visit from her mom. Joan Van Hart guest stars on Son of the Beach. That is Tuesday night, Son of the Beach. 10 p.m. on FX. We've got a beach. There's plenty of sand out here in the desert. I guess. Does that resemble the ocean to you?
Well, no.
But it's wet, and when it's 110 outside,
that feels pretty good.
It definitely works.
That feels pretty good.
Round at the top of the batting order, Craig Counsell caught looking at a 3-2 offering from Ortiz. Didn't want to play catch-up tonight at the Arizona Diamondbacks because you are going up against one of the better pitchers in the National League. Ortiz maturing quite nicely for the San Francisco Giants. And only his 5th year in the majors. That's right at the knees. Evens it up at a ball and a strike to Counsell. He's 7th best among National Leaguers with 11 wins coming in. 9th best at 3.31 earned run average. 11th best when it comes to opponents' batting average, only 242. So this is not the position they wanted to be in. Young man from Encino, California. And boy, when he plays the Dodgers, the family is there and the cameras are on them. 1-2 breaking ball is an absolute beauty. Back-to-back Ks. They live on his mom and his sister and the rest of the family in Dodger Stadium. It's fun to watch.
Well, he's trying to put this ball down and under the hands of Counsell, and he doesn't. Now let's look at it on our pitch tracks brought to you by Questech. Right out over the top of the plate, but look at the breakdown. I mean, this is perfect. Not out in the middle of the plate, on the inner half of the plate, on a left-handed hitter. Difficult to handle it.
In the dirt, ball 1 to Jay Bell. A couple of years ago, the D-backs won 100 games, 1999. That same season, Jay Bell hit 289, 38 home runs, 112 runs batted in. Last year, when they won 85, Bell fell off to a 267 average, 18 home runs, 67 runs driven in. That is high and wide. It's 2-0. Many feel that for the D-backs to be successful, he doesn't have to hit 35 home runs, but he's got to hit close to 300. June 9th until the end of last year, Bell hit only 246, while Arizona went only 49 and 52. 3-0 count, bases empty. So after an impressive start to the inning, all of a sudden Ortiz losing the zone. Fouled away, green light. 3-0. Looks like a puppy, doesn't he?
Well, a young kid with a very good arm and a very good understanding of how to throw the baseball. And he's a kid that when a lot of young kids get handled with lead and they're not able to do anything with it. Ortiz has been very good when handed a lead this year and able to go out and win ball games. He's going after his 12th win this year against 6 losses. If it wasn't for an error in a ball game in his last start, the results may have been different in the ball game against Colorado.
He has just turned 27 years old, and when you look at Livan Hernandez and Rust Ortiz, they've got a decent starting alignment. Kirk Reeder did not pitch poorly last night as well.
Let me tell you what, anytime you can get into the 7th inning with a lead against the Giants, you're in trouble. The reason I say that is the success of Rodriguez, and then you have a closer down there, Rob Nin, that can shut out ball games.
And let's not forget about Sean Estes. If he gets it going in the second half, there's your first 4 in the rotation. He battles back against Bell. It's a full count. The D-back second baseman.
Well, as much as he's looking to pick up his 12th win, Monday, his wife Stacy is scheduled to give birth to their first child, Grace.
So a lot of things going well for Russ Ortiz, including the expanded zone. The breaking ball gets him. He strikes out to the side, takes care of Lopez, Consul, and Bell. Giants get ready to hit in the top of the 4th inning. And it's a 2-0 lead for San Francisco. Arizona Diamondback debut for Albie Lopez. Benito Santiago grinding out at the third baseman his first time up there. He's had an incredible career. It's easy to forget. Unanimous winner of the National League Rookie of the Year back in 1987 with the San Diego Padres. Broken back. Back goes farther than the ball. Don't make them like they used to. And it's even a ball and a strike. After what happened just a couple of Saturday nights ago, though, at Enron Field, anything can happen in this game. We saw the grand slam with a broken bat in the barrel going out in that direction. And the ball just about 320 feet down the left field line for a grand slam. And Enron. An 8-3 loss for the Houston Astros. So it's even at a ball and a strike. Santiago, Ramon Martinez, and Russ Ortiz coming up. Santiago also 5-time Gold Glover, 4 Silver Slugger awards for his position. George Frazier joining us momentarily as he is going to be out and about at this expansive ballpark. Matt Williams with a toss across on the bouncer and the first out of the top of the 4th. Well, next Saturday, Mike Sweeney and the Kansas City Royals try to play the role of the spoiler, matching up with the Minnesota Twins, who just acquired Todd Jones of the Tigers today. That's the Royals and the Twins. Next Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. FX Baseball Saturday night. Well, George Frazier told me he was taking a brief break, and I got a feeling I know what he had in mind. We took a shot of the beach scene out of the pool here at Bank One Ballpark, and I don't know, but he disappeared. That's all I can tell you. So I've got a funny feeling something's in the works. George Frazier, I hope we hear from him before the night is over, though. Ramon Martinez to Hopper. Consul almost handcuffs himself on that fly. Looked like he almost slid right past it. 2 up and 2 down. He's already committed an error tonight on the ground ball off the bat of Galarraga that played the second run, bringing home Barry Bonds in the last inning. So it's Russ Ortiz on a solid single to right his first time up there, after Lopez, believe it or not, fell behind 3-0. Fastball, strike 1. Won't do it again. At least won't fall behind 3-0. Even at a ball and a strike, we talked about the problems the Giants have had against the National League West. They've got to figure things out on the road as well. 2 balls and a strike. San Francisco in their last 12 road series, just 2-10. And there's 16 road sets on the year. They're 4-12. Only road series victories twice in San Diego, then in Pittsburgh and in Texas. So all second division teams. Breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Russ Ortiz. But they have taken the first 2 of this 4-game series, and they were desperate. Outside edge. First time tonight, Albie Lopez has been able to set the Giants down in order. Now, will Louis Lopez, when he comes up to lead off the bottom of the 4th, get a little bit closer to Barry Bonds? Part of the order coming up for the Arizona Diamondbacks, trailing by a couple. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning on FX Baseball Saturday night. Joel Myers along with George Fraser, who's moseying. And I told you he had that faraway look in his eyes when we looked at that pool out in right field. George Fraser, I am told, we called Lost and Found. Have they found George Fraser yet? Can you tell me?
This is beautiful out here. I mean,
Oh,
the only
man.
place for FX Saturday Night Baseball to be is in the swimming pool. Is there any place better? Huh?
That's difficult duty, George.
It's fast duty, Joel. You talked about it. I had to come out and check out. There's no sand, by the way.
And get ready. Do you have your glove with you? Because Louis
Gonzalez up. I got to get in the spot here. Anybody bring a glove? You got your glove with you? Where's your glove? You got your glove. Never mind. You got your glove with you? That's it. He's got the hand. We're in. He's got his hat.
Luis Gonzalez, little flare up the middle, his second hit of the night. Major league leader in total bases, a couple more tonight. Single to right in the first, single to center here in the 4th. So George, get ready though. You still have a couple of others coming up. Mark Grace and Matt Williams. We may get a souvenir before it's all over. Hey George, I'll tell you something. I've heard about rooms with a view, but this is ridiculous.
You know, the base hit, that was kind of nice actually, sitting here watching the ball come right at me. Watching Bernard try to field it and get it back in again.
Can I remind you of one thing while you're out there? And I saw the scantily clad ones in bathing suits. Keep your eye on the ball.
I'm watching the ball game. I promise. I'm watching the game.
Mark Grace backs up from ball 1. Matt Williams to follow. Diamondbacks down by a couple. Couple of hits last night for Mark Grace. He's trying to park it in the pool. We know that George Fraser will dive head first for that souvenir. He's already got himself a bobblehead doll tonight that would make the evening complete. And the longer it goes that George is silent, that means he's definitely cozied up to someone.
Hey, I found somebody out here that we're going to talk to here in a minute. What do you think of Mark Grace? Pretty good, huh? Yeah, that's it, yeah. Hey, he's battling the Dodgers. They're trying to get back into first place here today.
No, I want the D-backs to be in first place.
Oh, they'll get in first place. Just give them time. They'll get there. With Randy Johnson and Schilling, they're doing pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they're doing well. But I want them to stay in first place.
Oh, it's a long season. They got a ways to go. They've got August and September. How about Gonzalez? Is this not great to watch him? A guy that only hit 31 home runs in his career total for 1 year. Now he's hit 41 chasing Barry Bonds.
Chasing Barry Bonds. Yeah, we got to keep Barry Bonds under control in this series. Keep him under control and let Gonzo hit those home runs.
Joel, seems like an easy plan, doesn't it?
2-0 count, George. And Mark Grace pushes it, but covering the line well. Ramon Martinez snares that little flare.
Well, I'm going to move around a little bit and see what's going on.
Well, George, I'll tell you.
I don't know if you guys
George,
can see everything, Joel, that I've got out here. This is pretty nice. You know they have the hot tub up on top. Hey, I'm open in the corner. Can I have a shot? Hey. Oh, I feel like Shaquille right now. This is kind of fun, isn't it? Just slam it home, don't you? Oh, you got hoops. You got a little bit of everything out here, Joel. This is great.
Hey, George, it was such a total shock that the first person you decided to talk to wasn't a 6'5", 300-pound guy.
Oh, okay.
Matt Williams, the tying run at the plate for the D-backs, down by a couple. Lifts the fly ball to right fielder Armando Rios. Couple of steps back. And it's out number 2. So George Fraser out in right center field. attracted to the water and obviously attracted to a guy with a lot of beer cups.
Hey, let me tell you, this is a great area to watch the game from. I know, how often do you come out here? Are you in the pool? This is your first time?
This is my first time at the pool. It's awesome. I love it out here.
Yeah, you get a great view from all of this, and particularly, do you come a lot of the Diamondbacks are a winning ball club?
Yeah, they are a winning ball club, and I love them. I've been born and raised here in Arizona, man. This is awesome for Arizona.
How about Gonzalez, huh? Isn't this something?
Oh, he's a great thing. He should get MVP for the year, I think.
Well, how can he not? You know, and you look at Bonds, his 45 home runs, but with Gonzalez, he's had a shot at the Triple Crown.
Yes, he does, man. I think he should get it over Barry Bonds or anybody else.
There's a good shot. He's going to get that, and particularly if they can get some runs on the board against Ortiz tonight. They've struggled so far.
Steve Finley at the plate with the strike one count. 2 down, and Gonzalez still aboard at first after that leadoff single to center. Ball and a strike. This is one of the most beautiful of the new ballparks. It really started with Camden Yards. Ballpark at Arlington, or the new ballpark in Pittsburgh, the Jake in Cleveland. We're talking about a new one potentially in St. Louis, although I tend to believe the old one in St. Louis is still pretty good and serviceable. But this is a classic, and let's not forget about the new Pac Ballpark in San Francisco. It's even at a ball and a strike to Finley. 2-1. Diamondbacks will take it any way they can get it. Not many home runs this year from Steve Finley, after hitting 69 over the previous 2 seasons. Caught stealing on a missed hit and run in his first time up there after a single. The leadoff single to center in the second. He's 9 for his last 17. Out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Diamondback center fielder. He's won Gold Gloves in each of the last 2 seasons as well. But at 35, there's been speculation. He could potentially be moved before the July 31st trading deadline. So George Frazier, Pina Colada poolside.
Yeah, and I'm doing a little work right now out here. You don't mind if I get something to eat while I'm out here, do you?
Partner, we're halfsies. Base hit, right field. Gonzalez will hold at second. The longer the inning goes, the longer George loves it. And by the way, obviously, it's a case of Curious George right now.
Well, you know what? I'm getting ready to go through the hot dog line. Do you want me to bring you one?
No, that's all right, partner.
You sure?
No.
The chips look pretty good. You like onions and relish? Oh,
chili mustard and onions, please.
You do? Is that all you want on it?
Oh, boy. Rough duty for Frazier tonight.
You know, if they had a few burgers out here, you wouldn't see me for a couple of days. I can tell you that right now.
And don't you love it? You know, if you were working in New York right now and you were out there, they'd be all over you, George. These people are oblivious to you being out there right now.
Oh, they just FX? All right, great. Go right ahead and eat. You want to join the party? Join in.
And by the way, don't intrude upon our privacy.
Exactly.
David DeLucci. Hitting with 2 away and 2 aboard. Diamondbacks down by a couple. Ball 1. And Russ Ortiz. Ortiz had a couple reach safely in the first. Got out of that jam. Getting fly balls off the bat of Grayson Williams. Gave up a base hit to lead off the second. Then took care of the next 2. Caught Finley stealing with a missed hit and run. So it hasn't been like there have been many economical innings for him. As Luis Gonzalez leads away from second. Finley doing the same from first. There's a game to catch up last night. They evened it at 2, but then the Giants took off. Right down the middle at the knees. Even at a ball and a strike. DeLucci hit a little humpback liner. Looked like it possibly was going to fall in for a base hit, but Galarraga did a good job getting off the bag and coming up with it, spearing it out of the air. In on his hands. Good job by Ortiz. Ball and 2 strikes. Now, George Frazier took a while to get there. He's been there for a half inning. And I hope I see him before the end of the evening.
I might come back. Hey, you know where I'm standing right now? I'm standing on home plate. It's 405 feet to home plate, right where I'm standing. Another fact about the pool you didn't know, did you, Joel?
No, I did not.
405 feet right here.
DeLucci would love to hit you. right in your hot dog. So ball and 2 strikes. DeLucci lets it fly. Did anything to get a piece of it. The bat into the stands. So now new equipment for DeLucci. The trade will come later to get it back. And fortunately, it looks like everybody's okay. Of course, the gentleman that had the bat land right in his lap did not grab it. 2 seats down, came up with a souvenir. There'll be a trade. DeLucci will send something over, whether it's a ball or a couple of balls. He may ask for Barry Bonds' bat, though, before it's all over. They can work out a barter from the opposition clubhouse. 2-0 Giants. Ball and 2 strikes. Another scoring opportunity for the D-backs. They had a couple aboard in the first. Liner into left. Gonzalez around third. Here comes the throw from Barry Bonds. On line, just out of the reach of Santiago. Gonzalez gets by him. What a play by Luis Gonzalez. San Francisco. The throw just barely up the line, but Gonzalez read it perfectly. Throw beats him, but Santiago got it a few feet behind the foul line and then tried to come back and get it. Good job by Gonzalez.
You know, Joel, you see so many times the base runner try to slide into foul territory side. That was a great read on the throw in. But Gonzalez went into the fair side of the line to make sure he got out of the reach of Santiago.
Heads up play, George, by a veteran, because the throw was on time, but the way Santiago came up with it, just about 3 feet beyond the foul line. It's off the end of the bat of DeFelice for center fielder Marvin Bernard. But a 2-out single by DeLucci, and the D-backs are finally on the board. George, you going to come in, or are you staying out there because you know who's coming to the plate in the next half inning?
Absolutely. Barry Bonds is coming up, and I'm going to get a position in the corner. Maybe, just maybe, number 46.
Major league leader in home runs is coming up when we return. George is by the pool.
Well, the Diamondbacks came within one here, a big base hit, and they come across with a run. It's 2-1 now, San Francisco, and you know who's coming up third, Joel. Well, I got a great seat for it, too, don't I?
Obviously, Bob Uecker left you tickets.
Yeah, but Bob Uecker didn't have a swimming pool where he was sitting.
Marvin Bernard leads things off, hitting .219. Bernard last year, .263, .290 the year before, and that's when the Giants gave him a contract extension for 3 for a little over 11. Back home, makes his offseason home. Here in Phoenix, lays down on beauty. Matt Williams, tough chance, not in time, and Williams did everything he could on the play. That was an absolutely perfect bunt by Bernard.
Now remember too, Joel, the great play that Williams made earlier in the ball game, came in on a ball and was able to throw out the runner. Here he comes up short on Bernard just because of the position of the bunt. It was outstanding.
And George, Matt Williams was already, feet were in on the grass, but it was dead in that perfectly. And Bernard just barely beat it out. So a bunt single. Bernard 3 for 3 now. He had a stolen base, was gunned down. When he went past third, he had it stolen, but he couldn't keep the foot on the bag. Tagged out by Matt Williams. Brings up Rich Aurelio. So the Giants trying to get back to 1. They just gave away with the 2-out single by David DeLucci. We're at the top of the 5th inning. You have to worry about this guy when he's got an over, and he's at his 3rd at bat of the night. Rich Aurelio, 6th in the National League, coming in with a .338 average. 10th as well in doubles with 26 so far this season. Former Redmond out of St. John's, grew up in Brooklyn. 0 for 2. Struck out, grounded out the shortstop. Lopez has not pitched poorly tonight, but he has thrown a good number of pitches. Only once has he faced the minimum, and that was in the 4th. Downstairs. Ball 1. First delivery to Aurelio. George relaxing out in the right center field. Tough life as usual.
Well, you know what? When you have a swimming pool, what do you have to have with it? A lifeguard. So I had to take off and find a lifeguard, and actually she was kind of sitting down and relaxed. A nice night, huh?
It's a pretty nice night, yes.
It's a lot better with the roof open, though, isn't it, at night?
Sometimes, but it's hot today.
How about that guy in the on-deck circle, Barry Bonds? Have you caught one out here, one of his home runs yet?
Not yet, but I'm sure everybody's going to be expecting a ball to be landing in the pool. Maybe somebody will win a car tonight.
If it goes into the pool. Oh, do they win a car if the ball goes in the pool on a splash?
Some lucky person, if the ball goes in the pool, they'll win a Nissan Altima, so.
Tonight, and Bonds pretty good with some splash hits, isn't he? You know about McCovey's Cove in San Francisco?
That's right. That's right. We'll see.
So when a ball goes in on any given night, if the guy hits one in the water on the fly, right? It has to go in on the fly. They win a car?
Yes, they pick one person, and anytime during the game, if a home run hits the pool, they win a car.
All right.
Kind of Nissan.
All right, I got kids that drive. Where do I go sign up for the car?
You know what? I couldn't tell you.
I'm trying to get a car out here, Joel. They don't know where to send me.
Lifeguard.
Don't ask the lifeguard. Okay, we won't have. You're just out here protecting. The pool's not very full tonight, is it?
No, it's not. A lot of kids, though. More kids than I've seen in a while, so it kind of makes me nervous sometimes.
You got to work tonight and make sure everybody's up, right?
Yes, I have to do my job.
Oh, enjoy the ball game. Why not?
All right, George. Aurelio just barely held up. 2-1 delivery. Beating this one with the dirt foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So the Giants red hot offensively. This young man in particular. Back-to-back 20 home run seasons. Only one other Giant second baseman has ever done that. That was Alvin Dark. 1953, 1954 seasons. You talk about a middle infield power combo. Jeff Kent, Rich Aurelio, the ultimate for Dusty Baker. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Full count. Leadoff man already aboard. You'd have to believe with the speed out there, and Dusty Baker up by a run. They'll be moving Bernard off of first. He's already had a couple of great jumps tonight on Albie Lopez. Short lead. Payoff pitch coming to the second or the shortstop for the Giants. And Bonds coming up next. And this belted deep to left field. It's got a shot for another for Aurelia, and it's a 2-run home run. A solo shot last night. A 2-run bomb tonight. And it didn't take long for the Giants to get it back and double it up. 4-1 San Francisco.
Now, one more look at that home run, Joe. Look at it, a mistake pitch high up into the zone, and Aurelia makes him pay for it here. Man, fastball up, and he smoked it, and which has become tradition. It seems like all around baseball, the ball coming back in from the left field bleachers. Now, the shift on right now for Barry Bonds. All right, well, we're going to stand over here. Barry, over here. See where I am? Right here, Barry. This will do fine for 46. Uh-oh. Oh, he fooled me.
Right back above us, it's strike one, and that shift that you're talking about, only one man on the left side of the infield, and that is Matt Williams. Like a shortstop, shading towards second. 3 on the right side for Barry Bonds, still though they work him away. And it's 0-2, catching the outside edge. So Aurelia with his 19th home run of the season. A 2-run shot. 4-1 Giants. Bonds jammed. May have been out of the zone, but in an 0-2 hole. Barry with a triple already tonight. Now, granted, he has had 3 home runs over the last 2 games, but don't forget about the dry spell. Only 3 home runs over the previous 28 games for Barry Bonds. Previous 40-plus home run seasons with a career best 49 last year. Ball and 2 strikes. He had 40 and 97, 42 and 95. And then go back to 1993, and Barry had 46. So it's his 5th 40-plus home run season. Even at 2 balls and 2 strikes, and with the 3 over 2, he is now 1 home run ahead of the pace of Mark McGwire, with 45 home runs over the first 104 games, so the fastest to ever get to 45 over the first 104. Yet, he walked away from the writers last night when they brought it up. He said, every time I start talking about with you guys, I head south. And that was the end of the conversation. 3-2. Jeff Kent coming up next. Luis Gonzalez, 4 back in the race. It's 42-41 at the start of the series. And the second walk of the night issued to Barry Bonds. That's his 35th walk over his last 96 at-bats. 106 on the season. Sosa, next to the National League, has 78, so he's almost a full 30 ahead of Sammy Sosa. And we talked about Luis Gonzalez with total bases, the chance to break Babe Ruth's record for total bases. Well, Barry Bonds is also on pace to break the Babe's record for walks in a single season.
Well, you know, Joel, as much as they walked Mark McGwire, which was something like 17 times in a month and a half, the last part of the season, this year Barry Bonds, most of those walks, intentional walks, had come in the middle of the season for Barry Bonds when he was hot, particularly in Atlanta, where he hit 5 in 2 games, and then now they've walked him twice here tonight.
George, you look a little dejected that Barry didn't hit one in your direction.
Well, you know, I had really entered, I took off and I entered to get the car. And I was hoping, just hoping, that I was going to drive home tonight in a new car. The lifeguard, all she can say to me is sorry.
I won't ask who is going to be riding shotgun.
Hey, the game's not over, though. She said it's not over. I like her attitude.
Jeff Kent pulling it foul, strike 1. Kent 1 for 2 with a base hit in the first.
Who was the other guy that did that? Yogi Berra? It ain't over till it's over?
Will you give me a ride home, George?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'm not riding in the back seat. I got a feeling shotgun's already taken. Strike 1 count to Kent. Talk about remarkable seasons. That's what it was for Jeff Kent last year as the National League MVP. Young man out of Edison High School in Huntington Beach. And back where he played his college ball at Cal Berkeley. Played for the Golden Bears when they won a Pac-10 Southern Division title back in 1988. Jeff Kent hitting it hard on 1 hop. Should be able to turn 2. And they do. So Consul on the backhand side, starting it with the help of Jay Bell. He had a 6-4-3 double play. And it was a pill off the bat on 1 hop. Jeff Kent hit it that hard. A break, though, for Albie Lopez after giving up the 2-run homer to Rich Aurelio. So the Cat, Andres Galarraga, will hit with the bases empty and 2 down. It's over the outside corner for strike 1. RBI reached on an error in his last at bat. Ground ball that plated Barry Bonds with the second run of the night. Inside edge, so they work outside, come back inside. 0-2. Rios coming up next if Galarraga can get aboard. And Galarraga thought it was a little bit low, but the damage already done to Albie Lopez out of Westwood High School in Mesa, burned by Rich Aurelio, like so many others over the last 3 seasons. A 2-run shot, and the Giants are up by 3. As they say, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. They've got just about everything here at Bank One Ballpark. We head to the bottom of the fifth. Giants up by 3, looking for the third straight of the D-backs. This fall, FX brings you 3 of the biggest hit shows on network TV. At 7, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, followed at 8 by Ally McBeal. And then it's The Practice at 9. 3, it's 5 Nights, 1 Network. An all-new prime time. It starts September 24th on FX. Now, there was no activity in the bullpen even after Lopez gave up with a 2-run shot to Rich Aurelian. So he leads things off in the bottom of the 5th at the knees. On his career offensively, he is 0 for his career. Interleague play, 0 for 14 at the plate. Went down swinging. He's only at bat tonight. And now in a 1-2 hole. So Lopez to the top of the batting order. Craig Counsell, followed by Jay Bell. We talked about the start of the series. It was the Giants. They were the ones who had the problems coming in, especially on the road. But the Diamondbacks, who were a great home team last year, have not been that effective this year at Bank One Ballpark. That takes care of the pitcher, Albie Lopez. Last year at home, Diamondbacks 47-34. This year so far at home, only 28 and 24. Bob Brenly, first-year skipper, trying to avoid what happened last year in the second half. And that was a serious collapse. Craig Counsell, who's in the Dodgers camp during spring training, released by the Dodgers, been a fine for the D-backs, but he's been a strikeout victim a couple of times tonight. Caught looking, went down swinging. Strike 1. 6 strikeouts so far for Russ Ortiz. That's shot in the hole and into left field. Just going the other way with the off-speed delivery. And updating you on all of the scores, all the finals. That was a grand slam walk-off homer off Billy Wagner. And that Pirates' first game win, but the Astros came back to take game 2, and they needed to after what happened with the Cubbies today. Cubs losing at home. Both Sammy Sosa and Marco McGuire hitting it out at Wrigley. Albert Pujols also with a home run for the Cardinals. Phillies lost a tough one. Down 3-0, tied it up only to lose. Mets scored a run over the final 2 innings. Dodgers dominated the Rockies. Sean Green, 7 home runs over his last 8 games. As Jay Bell hits with 1 away and 1 aboard. Craig Counsell over at first. Tigers have had their problems, to say the least. Oakland couldn't capitalize after the shutout of Kansas City yesterday. There goes the runner. Throw, Santiago does it again. It is amazing with the position that he releases the ball and gets it there as quickly as he does. Hurls his body from his knees into it. Perfectly applied by Jeff Kent. And the Diamondbacks right now, they just can't get anything done. So he got him on the spikes. You can see it on the first angle. Just wanted to make sure his Counsell was going by wide. But there was no doubt about it, because of the throw by Santiago beating the runner by that much. So 2 down, base is empty. The struggles continue for Arizona. They came into the game with only 40 steals on the year. They had been caught 23 times. Santiago has nailed them a couple of times tonight. He got Finley on that missed hit and run. So 40 steals, shot down 25 times. Other scores, the White Sox damaging the Red Sox hopes after Clemens won his 15th earlier today for the Yankees. All the finals so far in Major League Baseball. And it's wide. So that really hurts. 2-out walk, although Ortiz definitely working, fell differently but a man had been at first base. And it brings up Luis Gonzalez, 2 for 2 tonight. Base hit in the first to right, shot and singled up the middle in the fourth. And the average up close to 350 now. Start of the night at 347, exactly 350. 4 home runs behind Barry Bonds. Will it be in her lap? Number 42. Make it a 1-run ball game with Jay Bell aboard at first. A little bit high, ball 1. So a 2-out walk giving Gonzalez the opportunity to hit. And George was talking about Luis Gonzalez, how all of a sudden out of nowhere with the power production, that high hard one goes right by him. Last 4 years going over 20 home runs. No one could have anticipated for a guy that has just turned, about to turn 34, that it would blossom at this point of his career into a power player. Career best 31 last season, already at 41 this year. Even at a ball and a strike, make it 2 balls and a strike. No. Well, that's interesting. And Gonzalez questioning Terry Kraft, the home plate umpire. You can see the way it was tailing in. And Terry Kraft, after Gonzalez said something, Terry Kraft said, wait a minute, where's your pine tar? A little bit up the bat handle? I guess that silenced the conversation in a hurry. The 1-2. Right by him again. 91 plus by Ortiz. Gets a couple of strikeouts, has 7 for the game. And once again, the Diamondbacks frustrated by the wasted opportunities. Disappointed by the development, Luis Gonzalez, who was holding that sign looking for number 42. Gonzalez down swinging, though, as the story has been Russ Ortiz. The San Francisco Giants looking for his 3rd win over his last 4 starts. And the Diamondbacks just trying to find some offense before a sold-out crowd on Luis Gonzalez bobblehead Dow night, which sends chills up and down your body. I know, George Frazier. Welcome back.
It's great to be back in the booth again. That was a little fun out by the swimming pool. Enjoying that a little bit.
Well, you know how to work the crowd.
That's a different perspective.
It's unbelievable the way you work a room, partner. Armando Rios, the right fielder, starts it off for the Giants, dictating the tempo now. You get into these innings, and especially with the way Ortiz has pitched, and you think about, well, I've got my setup man ready, and then I think about Rob Ned. How many can I get out of Russ? It's wide to Rios. Rios, his 14th home run of the year earlier. 1 for 2 so far tonight. That gave the Giants a 1-0 lead. Game of the 2nd inning. Lopez has hurt himself falling behind in the count to critical hitters like Rich Aurelio. He had to come in. All of a sudden, it looks like for Terry Kraft, the strike zone's an old National League strike zone, even a little bit below the news.
And you know, that's something that's comforting. Of course, you're hearing a pitcher talk about it, too. I'd rather see the low strike called than I would the belt-high fastball strike.
Rios belts it deep. Will it be his 2nd of the night? It's got a chance off the base of the wall. Rios into 2nd. Another extra base hit. So they decided to stick with Lopez, which I found interesting, and let him lead off the last inning.
Yeah, that was very interesting. They left him into the ball game till then. All of a sudden, Rios is able to take the first pitch from him on a 3-1 count. Gets a fastball, middle half of the plate, drives it out into right center field over the head of Finley. One of the deepest parts of the ballpark, 413 feet right center field. Anywhere else, probably in the seats for his 2nd home run of the ball game. Now see if they can capitalize on this leadoff double, as they did in the previous inning. And they had Bernard with a leadoff bunt single.
Santiago swinging away and driving it up the middle. But unfortunately, Rios was headed back to the bag as the ball sailed right past him.
Yeah, really the defense playing straight up. You wonder because the ball hit right over the second base bagger a little bit to the right of it. He throws on the line drive, but once the ball got through, there's no chance for him to score. And with a 3-run lead, why take the chance?
I didn't see Dusty Baker bunting with Santiago up there, and then the number 8 hitter coming up anyway. But he has used him 3 times this year for sacrifices. So Lopez on the ropes, conversation to buy some time for the pen. It brings up third baseman Ramon Martinez. As if Russ Ortiz didn't have enough to work with already. Prince Swindell, the first activity of the night for the Diamondbacks.
Bob Brenly realizes he can't let this ball game get out of hand. As yesterday and the day before, the Giants hit double figures. He does not want that to happen. Nobody out, runners first and third. And it happened very quickly, so quick that he couldn't get the bullpen up and loose. And does it come back to haunt you now that you go ahead and let Lopez hit
I was
the previous inning?
I was shocked last night. He stuck with Anderson. 4 1/3. There was 1 out in the 4th. Man aboard, down 4-2. And he left him in, and boom, it was a 2-run homer right away. And you can tell Anderson left everything up. I was kind of surprised that he stuck with the starter that long. Ball gets away, but a good block. As Santiago will advance to second. Good play by Dean Feliz to make sure the runner from third didn't come home.
Well, you can see this ball's down in the dirt, and he does a really nice job of cupping the shoulders to keep that ball out in front of him. He doesn't prevent the runner from going to second, but obviously the runner from third, the most important, does not advance and score.
Rios at third. A leadoff double. Base hit by Santiago. Advancing to the wild pitch. Base hit could play 2 off the bat of Ramon Martinez. Trying to get it out of the infield for the first time tonight. Backhanded stab. So Lopez crossing up his catcher a little bit here. 2 balls and a strike. Dean Feliz getting a workout.
Yeah, just hit the ball hard somewhere. That's all you're trying to do if you're Martinez. The infield all the way in on the grass now.
Cued off the end of the bat. So the infield on that last pitch came all the way up. Opportunity now. So many options. Ramon Martinez. So many holes with the infield in.
Now it just shortens down the range so much. Remember, you've got a Gold Glove at first. Bell has won a Gold Glove, and Williams. You got 3 pretty good guys on your infield. It's going to have to be hit right at him. Going to hold the runners. He's really showing a lot of patience at the plate, going after the breaking ball in the dirt. 100 pitches of the ball game now for Lopez.
Pitch coming to Ramon Martinez. Out of play, good at bat. The number 8 hitter. Third baseman for the Giants. You know, we talked to the pitching staff of the Giants in the first 4 looking so good. You have to wonder, after what happened to Curt Schilling last year, anxious moments coming up for Bob Brenly because after Randy Johnson and Schilling, there are some question marks for Brenly. And has Schilling shown his best so far? He was bombed by the Giants in the first game of the series. He's 14-5 so far this year. He won his first 5 after the July trade for the Phillies, but then he lost his last 6.
Exactly. 14-5 record now. There's been some talk of Brenly going to a 4-man rotation because of the lack of confidence in the 5th guy, so he could run those 2 big horses out faster, Joel. Now, do you think they can benefit from it?
Fly ball carries deep enough to David DeLucci. That'll play another run for the Giants. Good job by Martinez. Inside out in it. Deep fly ball. An RBI sacrifice fly bringing home Armando Rios. 5-1 Giants. Well, we were just talking about the rest of the staff as opposed to the big 2. And let's go back to the 1964 Philadelphia Phillies. Jim Bunning and Chris Short.
Yeah,
and what they did going down to only 2 pitchers down the stretch. I don't think they'll go to that extreme.
No, they won't go to that extreme, but it won't surprise me, though, that Brenly doesn't go to a 4-man because of the 2 veterans. The only thing that may prevent him from doing that is the strength of their bullpen. Whether these guys could have a, let's say, 6-1 lead in the 6th, take them out so they have more strength for their next start. and more rest with less amount of pitches. Again, they're both in whole leads.
Pretty good hitting pitcher up right now, and Russ Ortiz, who's hitting 205 coming in. Average up to 220 after getting the base hit to right his first at bat. And a heads-up play by Benito Santiago to tag on the deep fly ball to right field, because another fly ball, another run if it's deep enough. Still only one down. 2-0. Albie Lopez, you knew it was going to be a cottonmouth kind of situation for him to start the game.
Well,
With so many friends and family in the stands going to high school here in Mesa.
Yeah, and you even made the comment, and I would agree with it. Would he have been better off starting on the road for that first start and then come back because of all the pressure? You wanted him to go out and have success, but as you can hear the crowd start to grumble now and the boos starting to increase, they still want to win. Not everybody graduated with Lopez in this crowd.
3 balls and a strike.
Pretty big crowd, pretty big class.
If
We're
he
at about
won,
45,000.
you know and I know, though, if he won tonight, they were all classmates.
Well, that's classmates, and they'd have had a parade tomorrow.
Ball 4 to the pitcher. Well, he went 3-1 on the pitcher when Ortiz got the base hit. Now he walks him. And that'll do it. So the patience runs out for Bob Brenly. Albie Lopez in his first start as a Diamondback, just coming over a few days ago. And the deal for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays leaves in the top of the 6th. The lefty Curt Schilling will take over. FX Baseball Saturday night brought to you by Fram. Pay a little now or pay a lot later. Welcome back once again to Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix. Joel Myers along with George Frazier. I'm trying to get Curt Schilling into the game, but Greg Swindell will take over anyway. Swindell did perform in the first game of the series on Thursday night. In fact, he gave up a 2-run homer to Jeff Kent after he walked Barry Bonds. So he enters the game in the top of the 6th. Only one away. And what a situation. Runners at the corners.
For Swindell, a starter for most of his career, then went to Minnesota. And in Minnesota really excelled, then came to the Diamondbacks. A 2-1 record this season, 389 earned run average in 42 ball games.
He came out of Texas. It looked like he was going to be in that company with Roger Clemens as it's laced up the middle by Marvin Bernard. It'll play another run. So that's the way he greets Swindell with an RBI single. And the Giants continue to dominate the Diamondbacks 6-1.
Well, and Bernard looks like anything but a guy hitting 219 coming into tonight. 4 for 4 now. Fastball, slider on that outside half of the plate. Didn't look like it fooled Bernard at all. This line drive right back up the middle. Finley able to get over and cut the ball off. Ortiz, not a lot of speed. He stays at second base. And again, the Giants extend this lead 6-1.
So 4 base hits for Marvin Bernard. Consistently going up the middle with the ball tonight. It brings up Rich Aurelio. 2-run homer his last at bat. Downstairs, ball 1.
Well, let's look at Bernard's at bats and his 4 hits and what it looks like on pitch tracks. Brought to you by Quest Tech. You can see the majority of the pitches right here in the center of your plate. A good extension by Bernard and able to drive the ball back up the middle. He's hit the ball to the right side as well.
And that bunt single. 3 though, right up the middle. Guy that needed it at 219 after hitting a little bit above 260 last year. 290 the year before. Aurelia, his 19th home run earlier tonight. 338, 6th in the National League in hitting coming in. So with 2 home runs already tonight, the Giants have out-homered over the first 2.5 games of this series. The Diamondbacks 10-1. Extra base hit doesn't mean much, does it? It's over the outside edge. 2 balls and a strike to Aurelia.
Yeah, the home run's 10-1 right now. Amazing, isn't it? Bonds with 3 so far. And Rios hit his.
Aurelia, the young man, he's got a couple.
He's got a couple of them. A big one tonight, a 2-run home run tonight. That ball, by the way, that ball was crushed too to left field from the swimming pool area. We could hang some clothes on it.
So plenty of room now for Russ Ortiz. Disappointment on the opposite end for Albie Lopez, while Ortiz is smiling out of the bases right now after a walk. He's at second. He's been aboard a couple of times against his counterpart. The 2-1 to Aurelia. Make it 3-1. And that is lifted deep to right center field. It's got a chance for his second of the night, and it's gone. Did it find the pool?
Oh,
yes, it did.
Now, where's my car?
You're there, partner.
Beautiful.
Rich Aurelia has knocked in 5 on the night, a 3-run homer. And it is busted wide open now, 9-1 Giants. Boy, oh boy, you are the master of timing, aren't you?
Yeah, how about that, huh? I take off right where I was standing, right out there in right center field, and we're talking about Barry Bonds and what he might do, and it really is the guy that goes opposite field. His second home run of the night, 5 RBIs. Man, oh man.
3 consecutive 20 home run seasons for the shortstop of the San Francisco Giants. Now it's anticlimactic. Barry Bonds, just Barry Bonds at the plate. He's handcuffed and it's fouled away.
Well, let's
Strike two.
take one more look at that home run by Aurelia, and then the pitch from Swindell, who's done nothing but throw a lot of gasoline on this fire so far. He hasn't put it out. You see DeLucci go right out. That was right where I was standing.
There is a car
I gotta call the
in
lifeguard.
someone's future. It's not mine. And Barry Bonds punched out. First time that kept him off the bases tonight. He got a triple and a couple of walks. But Rich Aurelia has driven in 5, 3 on the last one. Barry Bonds in disbelief.
Now working that outside half, trying to keep Bonds. If he's going to extend and hurt you, he's going to do it away. When he come inside, it's a pitch that's not where he can handle it. The last slider, called strike 3 by Terry Kraft, was it low? Nice pull up by DeFleece into the strike zone. Barry, now that pitch is low. There's no way I'm going to be able to hit it. And Terry Kraft says, well, hit it in the dugout.
It's 9-1. Find a seat.
Yeah.
Brings up Jeff Kent. Outside edge. Kent's got a base hit, and check that, we've got a pinch hitter. Jeff Kent has been taken out of the game. Downstairs, Pedro Feliz in for the first time. So after the home run, because Jeff Kent originally did come out after the home run, Dusty Baker, second thought, give him the night off.
Well, give him the night off and get your bench a couple of base hits or a chance to swing the bat, because that might pay dividends down the line when he has to pinch hit. And he may be the guy that would pinch hit against Swindell when he would come into a ball game if Dusty had to flip in the bottom of his lineup. So it pays dividends tonight. It may pay more dividends in September.
Feliz, a 23-year-old from the Dominican. Brought up as a third baseman to play the middle infield. Sends it into the gap. It's going to be in for extra bases. Feliz looking at second, thinking about 3. They hit the cutoff man, but it's not going to be close. A 2-out triple for Feliz.
Bob Brenly just hopes they could get out of this inning. Swindell having a tough time doing that after the 3-run home run.
It's the first triple of his career, George.
Yeah, check out this speed tracker to see how fast he is from home plate to third base. Once he recognizes he's got a shot at it, boy, you can see him turn it up here between second and third.
Do we need a better gun? A guy on the clock? So Feliz's first career triple sends Swindell to the dugout. Another pitching change for the Diamondbacks. Commanding lead for the Giants. The big cat, Andres Galarraga, the first to face the new right-hander, Brett Prince.
Now, Prince had been used as a closer, and Kim has taken that role over, and then Prince with the good fastball. And Manti was hurt. Prince was brought to the big league. Manti was lost for the season. And Prince, given that opportunity, he's been perfect on the year, 4-0 record. He has 8 saves, and a 215 earned run average.
But again, almost double digits on the board for the 3rd consecutive game for the San Francisco Giants.
You mentioned it. They have to win on the road. They had not won previously, and here's another continued look at the numbers on Brett Prince. The 8 saves, those came early, 6 of the 8. Yeah, the opposition batting average is .215.
Pulled down the line in fair territory. More extra bases for the Giants and Galarraga as he drives in his 8th run in his first 4 games for San Francisco.
Yeah, getting dividends in a hurry on that investment, aren't they?
RBI double, 10-1 Giants.
Bob Brenly trying to say what went wrong. Ahead in the count and tries to throw the fastball down and away from the big cat. Williams off of the line, and this ball hugs right over the third base line. Called fair by Paul Striper, third base umpire.
So the young man that got it all started with a double and came around to score. On a sacrifice fly, Armando Rios takes strike 1. Couple of extra base hits tonight, a double. Solo shot his 14th homer of the year. The Giants have now scored 39 runs over their last 3+ games. 3 games and just about 6 innings worth. And the ERA for the staff, this is what Dusty Baker likes the most. Since the halfway point, the last 16 games, 3.44, the earned run average. The Giants pitching staff. So it's funny how things work, George, and you know all too well as it's lifted into left field for Luis Gonzalez to the track. He's got it for the final out, but Rich Aurelia got it done. He's knocked in 5. He's got 2 homers already tonight, and we're just heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Another big night offensively for the San Francisco Giants for the 3rd consecutive game. Well, don't forget Pat Boone, Wink Martindale, and basketball star Brian Russell are a few that are going to join host Jillian Barberi's celebrity panel to take the test. It's the most outrageous half hour on late night TV. The Test. That's weeknights at 11 on FX. Bottom of the 6th inning. Felice is going to stay in the game, taking over for Jeff Kent at second base.
Now Felice flipped over to third. They switched it. He went to second, then he switched to Joel. It's kind of interesting because Martinez hung there. Then he made the move back over. I found that a little bit interesting that all of a sudden Dusty out of the dugout says, no. You go to third, Felice, and Martinez, you go to second.
Mark Grace will lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Grace, Williams, and Finley. And just before we ended that 10-batter half inning for the San Francisco Giants, played at 6 on 6 hits to take the commanding 9-run lead. Talking to George Frazier about the pitching of the Giants. We've also talked earlier tonight about the pitching of the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is maybe the best story in all of baseball because of the injuries to their regular rotation, the starting staff. And it's ironic, here are the Arizona Diamondbacks, who led most of the first half of the season. But now if they can't get it together besides the big 2, they may not be a factor down the stretch. It may be the Giants and the Dodgers battling.
And the reason why, Terry Adams, who's done an outstanding job coming out of the bullpen. Gagne's throwing the ball excellent out now, starting in the starting rotation. And also, you've got to add in Chan-Ho Park, who's pitching wonderfully. Their bullpen, with Hergis setting up, Feathers has struggled. Hergis is pitching very, very well. By his results, that allows Shaw to come up and do his job. If there's one area I think they'd like to help, that's the left-handed side of the bullpen. Orozco down there is the left-handed specialist to face lefties in tough situations. And again, you're looking at the National League West, the Diamondbacks and Giants going at it here tonight. And it looks like this ball game here in the bottom of the 6th, 10-1 right now. The Giants leading. They'll move up and gain some space against the Diamondbacks. And as you mentioned, with your interleague play now, it's unbelievable. When you're going to play within that division as much as you are.
76 games
you can make
in your own.
And you can make up some distance. As Dusty has said in the past, you can make up some distance in a hurry, and you can lose in a hurry, too.
A leadoff walk as Ortiz loses Mark Grace. That is the third walk of the evening issued by Ortiz.
Now, the last two complete ball games that Ortiz has had, one in October of '99 against the Colorado Rockies, the other in his two previous starts, 2 starts ago against the Rockies, was a complete game shutout. That was the first of his major league career. Well, Baker would like to see him go 9 just to help out your bullpen.
Fouled away by Matt Williams. As I mentioned, their winning percentage over the last 4 years when he makes his start, 1639, almost 61% ball.
That's amazing. Amazing. And one reason for that is they scored a lot of runs when he takes the mound. And it's so much easier to pitch when it's 5-1 or 7-1 than it is in a 2-1, 3-1 ball game.
And he could be better off. 4 starts ago against the Cardinals, gave up 1 earned run in 7 innings and did not figure in the decision. Breaker is over to Matt Williams, 0-2. So the series, it has been one-sided, completely owned by San Francisco. And it was the Giants who came in a spot where they had to win. Matt Williams skies one, deep left center field. Ballpark will hold it, though. Center fielder has it.
Well,
out number 1.
Did you think this is the way this series would go with Schilling starting on Friday night? I didn't think it would. Look at this, San Francisco outscoring Arizona 30-9.
Johnson's going tomorrow against Sean Estes. You just talked about Curt Schilling. So Marvin Bedard takes care of Matt Williams for the first out of the inning. Now it's center fielder Steve Finley. Upstairs, ball 1. He's 2 for 2. Started the ninth inning, 252. Also thrown out stealing, but it was a missed hit and run. That was back in the second. So, and this is a lineup, let's not forget, that started the season. It was a lineup of mostly 30-plus guys for the Arizona Diamondbacks. It wasn't a youthful look. Well, so it was win right now.
Win now. And I think you can say the same thing for the Giants. I think you can say the same thing with the Dodgers as players start to get up in years. Now, all of a sudden, you can look at teams that have been in a rebuilding or going with a youth movement, if you want to say so, in the West. San Diego Padres, the trade recently of Nafi Perez from Colorado for 3 young prospects. Up the middle now in Colorado, you have your 4 main players at catcher, short and second and center field. Very, very young, and an average age of 23 years old. So if they take off like they anticipate, they're going to be really good in a couple of years.
And you look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, we're talking about Bell, Gonzalez, Grace, Williams, Finley. The heart of the batting order, basically 35 plus. Gonzalez turning 34 in about a month.
If your health stays good, it's okay. But as soon as you get older, as you very well know in the game, you start to break down. And when that happens, boy, the injuries mount and tough to replace.
In the hole, no play for Rich Aurelio. He looked thinking maybe I got a shot at Mark Grace. Wasn't going to be close, though. So an infield single for Steve Finley, his 3rd hit of the night.
Well, not only with his bat, but he's showing pretty good range, too. Slapped by Felice and able to be knocked down by Aurelio. Now, he has a strong arm, but Aurelio has sometimes problems with his accuracy. He leads their ball club with 14 errors at shortstop.
Diamondbacks were down big last night in a similar situation. Got a home run for Matt Williams. Tried to make a game of it, but it was too big a deficit. David DeLucci, RBI single. He's knocked in. The only run of the game for the Diamondbacks at that point in the 4th inning. It made it 2-1. Fly ball, deep right field, no doubt about it. David DeLucci going beyond the pool. 3-run homer, and maybe we will get a game of it before it's all over. That look on Ortiz's face was one where I was just trying to get ahead of him. Made it too good.
Well, a year ago, it was Hansen from the left side as the pinch hitter that hit 7 home runs. DeLucci getting the start tonight. It is his 9th home run and 34th RBI, but 4 pinch hits. 4 pinch hit home runs on the year for DeLucci. You know what? I could have had a couple of cars or balls, either one. That over the pool.
Pays to bring a glove. So now a 6-run deficit for the D-backs. And a pinch hitter at the plate. Ariel Durazo swinging right through it. Even at a ball and a strike.
Durazo, the left-hander with a lot of power, 11 home runs, 34 RBIs. After a collision at the plate with Terry Shumpert in Colorado, he had to take time off because he was dizzy. He had a concussion, so he had to take a week or so off. He's still getting his stroke back from that collision at the plate.
Russ Ortiz handling it up the middle. Fortunately, it wasn't on a line like Darryl Kyle saw yesterday. That is out number 2. And with pitcher spot in the order coming up, we will get another pinch hitters.
Yeah, the hottest hitter on their bench, Damian Miller, who did not start the ball game, that has come to the plate here. Pinch hitting. Excuse me, the current 6-game hitting streak now for Damian Miller. 13 for 22, 4 doubles, a home run, 5 runs scored, and 4 RBIs.
Surprised he wasn't in the starting lineup. His first hit in his first at-bat last night gave him, over 3 games, 7 consecutive hits.
Well, again,
and here's a guy who works so hard, and his manager, don't forget, is a former catcher. He's got to love the work rate of Damian Miller. He really gives it all out.
Well, and DeFelice, even though he was Lopez's catcher, when you're battling, you've lost 2 games in the series. For me, and this is a former pitcher talk, for me, I want the hottest bat in the lineup. You're going to have to catch Lopez sometime. Maybe he just felt his first start in Arizona to help the comfort zone of Lopez. He went ahead and started his normal catcher that was with him in Tampa versus starting Miller, that he felt defensively, I need to have Lopez settled in. Well, that experiment did not work out tonight.
Lopez struggled in his 5+, leaving in the top of the 6th. Didn't slow down the Giants, though. Swindell took over. And Swindell promptly gave up an RBI single to Bernard, and then a 3-run homer to Rich Aurelio. Popped up, going to find the seats behind the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Damian Miller. The Diamondbacks almost made it like it was a must-win situation. They don't come back for a game and a half behind the Dodgers. The Giants stay 5 games within first place Los Angeles. You don't want that doubt creeping in your mind this early before you even get to the 1st of August.
Well, and really, there's only one coach left from that coaching staff, so a lot of guys didn't go through that in August,
right.
But there's some teammates that did. Now it's up to Brinley as a manager to say, hey, forget about last night, forget about the first 2 games. We've got to battle back. Now he's got to go back and give that same speech again.
Well, Ortiz definitely battled back after he gave up the 3-run homer to DeLucci. Giants by 6. Six-run lead for the Giants before the Giants get ready to hit the top of the 7th. Let's pick up on that conversation once again. And Luis Gonzalez talks to George Frazier about his hitting style. He's a Triple Crown candidate.
Well, I've always been a dive hitter, so what I primarily do is I like standing deep in the batter's box.
So you can see the fastball longer?
Well, I can stay back a little bit longer, and I'm one of those guys that has a flat swing through the zone. I don't swing and lift my bat up right away. I like to stay through the zone. That's why a lot of times I can get jammed and loop balls in over, especially now that I'm hitting home runs. Guys are playing me a lot deeper. Once I get like this, I kind of open up, square my shoulders up a little bit. Not too much with my right shoulder, but my left shoulder, I like to square it up towards the pitcher. And I feel like I'm looking at him head on. I try to stay as calm as I can, take a deep breath, and just relax and see the ball and hit it. I don't try to do too much.
Open stance, George, has paid off.
Well, it really has. Probably the first guy that came with the big open stance, Jose Canseco. A lot of power, a lot of bat speed. And Gonzalez even talked a little bit about Canseco. He talked about Larry Walker, who had a pronounced open stance also. He just feels like he sees the ball so much better. And guys think, well, he doesn't have as much plate coverage. But you heard him talk about diving out over the top of the plate. Well, when you dive out, obviously you're able to cover that outside corner. And he's quick enough to recognize and handle the ball in.
Career year for Luis Gonzalez, who started his career with the Houston Astros. Beaten to the dirt by Benito Santiago. Just barely foul. And Eric Sable has taken over. He is the fourth pitcher of the night for Bob Brenly.
And he's looking at all those young pitchers down there. Prince, now Eric Sable, 3-1, 42 innings. The hit's very good. Walks just 7 in 42 innings and 21 strikeouts. Good sinker ball pitcher. Like typical right-hander coming out of the bullpen that works in that middle relief and long relief at times. Damian Miller stayed in the ball game. He's behind the plate now.
Santiago 1 for 3. Fly ball off the end of his bat. Finley called off. Gonzalez has it. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Well, see Bruce Willis like you've never seen him before. Special edition of Die Hard. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on FX. Major Movie Sunday. And an opportunity to get some guys, some at-bats.
You work at it. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. You've gotten Felice into the ball game. Play defensively. Give Kent a night off.
As Ramon Martinez takes it over. He's looking for his first hit of the night, but he did have a sacrifice fly RBI. That came in the 6-run 6th inning for San Francisco. 6 runs on 6 hits in the inning, 10 on 14 overall for the Giants. Sable is wasting no time and getting the breaking ball over. Defensive swing. It'll stay fair.
Well,
Ramon Martinez, easy work.
Mark Grace did a nice job charging that baseball and keeping the ball out in front of him to stay in fair territory, because it hit right on the crease where the grass and the dirt meet, and the ball started to bounce to the right side, but Grace fielded it in fair territory and was able to retire Martinez. Well, I think that's going to be it tonight for Ortiz. His pitch count had neared 100, and then they decided to make the switch. With a 10-4 lead, they'll turn it over to the bullpen, and Eric Davis will pinch hit now.
So there's 2 down, the base is empty. And this one really came on a bad night for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A sold-out house, just about 50,000 on hand on bobblehead down night.
Well, you know, that's been good luck for a number of players. Jim Thome in Cleveland hit a home run when they had bobblehead night for him. How about Cliff Floyd in Florida? Hit 2 home runs. Sammy Sosa hit 1, and Giambi. Now they keep stats on everything, don't they?
Sick. Ball 1 to Eric Davis. So while the Giants have come up with a long ball, 2 by Aurelia. Rios has 1. The guy that has not come up with 1 is the guy that we've been focusing in on tonight, Barry Bonds. He's had 3 over the first 2 games of the series. Eric Davis with the Cardinals before coming over to the Giants. The great years with the Cincinnati Reds. Comeback player of the year a couple of times. You don't want to do that too often. Spent a couple of years with the Dodgers as well as the Tigers after the first 6 seasons were with Cincinnati. Then went to the Orioles for 2, the last 2 with the Cardinals. They were real productive for the Cardinals last year. 303 in 92 games. And got a little more than 250 at bats. Full count. a 2-out walk. So Sable retires the first 2. Walks Davis. And around to the top of the batting order. Had a perfect night working for Marvin Bernard. He's used his speed effectively. Had that bunt single, and it was a perfect bunt back in the 5th. Had an RBI single in the 6th. Stolen base as well tonight. Guy that struggled, and they need him.
Yeah, they do need him, and he has swung the bat much better in the month of July, an average of 250, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's walked 9 times, and then tonight, of course, 4 for 4 in this ball game. It'll continue to climb.
The Dodgers winning earlier today. They're now 17 games over the 500 mark. 61-44. Giants trying to get 7 games over the 500 mark with a win tonight at 56-49. And extend their winning streak to 4 straight. And that's after they had a season-high losing streak of 4 consecutive games. Aurelia the catalyst. He had the home run last night, 2 more tonight. He's knocked in 5.
You know, you look around baseball, Joel, and you look at the different divisions. Atlanta winning and Philadelphia losing today. They expand their lead to 2 ball games. One of the feel-good stories in baseball, the Florida Marlins, 5.5 back of Atlanta.
Yeah, don't forget about the wild card race. There'll be a factor there as well.
And they should be. They lost today in the ball game 5-0. Brad Penny was the starter in that ball game. Chicago with a 4-game lead over Houston. Houston split a doubleheader.
Popped up. He's barely in the outfield. Jay Bell has it for the final out of the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. And we'll see Luis Gonzalez once again for the D-backs. Move to the bottom of the 7th, and we were talking about it earlier on FX Baseball Saturday night. Bobblehead nights. And what an honor for Luis Gonzalez. His bobblehead night. George, you had a chance to talk with him about it.
I drive a Ford pickup, all right? Can you get me an extra bobblehead doll for the dash?
That's pretty,
Come on.
I know. I apologize.
Don't apologize. That's great.
They made me look halfway decent in there. Good thing the bobblehead looks better than I do.
The ever humble Luis Gonzalez.
It looks better than me. Come on. I guarantee the triplets will have some at the house.
Top of the batting order. It has been a tough night for any of the Diamondbacks to be smiling. Consul, Bell, and Gonzalez, as the Giants have led it every step of the way. They were up 2-0 early, then 2-1. Then the 2-run homer by Aurelia made it 4-1. Breathing room, and then the explosion in the 6th. Consul, a base hit, but he was thrown out stealing after he struck out a couple of times. New pitcher in for the Giants, George.
Yeah, the left-hander comes out of the bullpen. Fultz has taken over that role away from Embry, and a guy that has done a nice job for Dusty. He has a save on the year, 2-1 in 44 ball games this season.
Handcuff, Consul, shallow right field for Rios. And there's one down. We were just talking about the triplets of Luis Gonzalez.
Yeah, how about it, huh? Is this not a beautiful shot? I remember talking with Gonzalez when the triplets were first born, and he said, "It's all I see is the diaper man." He drops off, picks up 3 times a day. So, boy, what a great joy they are in his life.
Jay Bell hits ahead of Gonzalez with 1 away and the base is empty. Bell a couple of walks, struck out. He's 0 for 1. So Ortiz about to raise his record. Pick up his 12th win. Came into the game 11-6. He's talking to the triplets, Megan, Jacob, and Alyssa. Pride and joy of Luis Gonzalez.
You know, it's interesting, and you find out all the secrets, all right? And we're going to have to check, see if he does it this time when he goes to the plate. 3 taps of the bat on home plate for the triplets. He always carries 3 pieces of bubble gum in his back right pocket for the triplets, because he said sooner or later they're going to say, Dad, where's the bubble gum? So he puts it in his helmet. If he gets on base, he pulls them out of the back pocket, he says, puts them in his helmet if he has time.
Bouncer in the hole. Aurelia with the long throw. Gets a former shortstop in Jay Bell. You were just talking about that routine for Luis Gonzalez. Not superstitious at all.
Oh, not at all. Let's see if he goes up, taps 3 times. He talked about it a little bit earlier. We had that opportunity to visit with him before. He draws that line. I talked about there's the 3 taps on the home plate. The line drawn. He says, that's my line. He said, the reason I draw the line in the batter's box, and he said, because if my lead foot gets across that line, I know I'm blocking the front side and I can't turn on the baseball.
Wish you could put something down like that in golf. Pulls it on the ground. Galarraga handling it to Fultz. So 1-2-3 inning for the lefty, Aaron Fultz, who just took over for Russ Ortiz. One of the few positives tonight for Luis Gonzalez and the Diamondbacks bobblehead nights.
10-4 Giants. The main reason, this guy coming to the plate right now, Rich Aurelia with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. The first home run coming in the 5th inning with Bernard on. A line shot to left field out over the head of Gonzalez. Then back into the 6th inning again. This 3-run home run into the swimming pool. Where was I? Come on. Now look now on your pitch tracks, also brought to you by Quest Tech. 2 fastballs, outside half of the plate. That second pitch, he was able to drive and lift into the opposite field. That tells you the type of power. You mentioned it, 3 straight seasons in a row, Joe, 20 home runs.
And he's already matched his total from last year with 20. He's got 2 tonight. He has driven in 56 on the season. RBI totals the last 2 seasons, 79 and 80. So it should be career highs across the board for Rich Aurelia, and especially when it comes to the consistent factor, average, where he came in at 6th in the National League tonight, 338. Up above that 2 for 4. Downstairs, 2 balls and a strike out of Xavier High School in Brooklyn, then an all Big East performer at St. John's.
Now you look so much for consistency. He's hitting over 300 on the road, which is the National League average. This one hopper right at Williams, he doesn't have a shot at all at Aurelia. I mean, on that, it should be a base hit. This is a tough hop, but this ball scalded too. More of a self-defense knockdown by Williams at third base. One more look at it. Ball scalded, 1 hop right at it. Oh, Williams tries to hang on to it. Can't. This is all about reaction. Williams with some of the best hands in the National League, not able to hang on to this baseball.
So Rich Aurelia aboard for the 3rd time tonight. Came over the deal from the Rangers. Pitcher John Burkett before the 95 season as Barry Bonds pulls it into the hole. Solid single. Didn't even get a chance to give him a look at a home run. Went down. That was a breaking ball low.
Now Barry's so strong. People don't realize it. The guy that weighs 215, 220, a lot of bat speed. And that ball down into the zone. Boy, this gives you a great look, fans. They're wanting that pitch. Look at the mistake. I mean, you can see the location set up outside by Miller, then able to pull it on the inside. See, he's asking for the ball out here. Look at the glove all the way stretched left on the back of the inside. Look at Barry, though. Man, the head right on top of the baseball, and then the drive.
Popped up off the bat of Jeff Kent. Right fielder, David DeLucci. And that's the first out here in the top of the 8th. So Kent with the out, 2 for 5. Most of the Giants getting involved offensively, like Galarraga. He had his first hit, his last at bat, an RBI double. Among the starters, only Ramon Ortiz is without a hit. Even the pitcher had a base hit, Russ Ortiz, before he departed. Misses the inside edge, ball 1. So 2 aboard for Eric Zabel to deal with. High hopper for Matt Williams, the force play, and that'll be it. Runners at the corners with 2 down. Galarraga reaching on the fielder's choice to retire Bonds. Murillo advancing to third. That may turn out to be one of the best acquisitions of all the teams you talked about. Baldwin starting tomorrow for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers could use him as a starter. There's no doubt about that. But JT Snow has been sick lately, disabled now by the Giants. Galarraga coming over. They may look back on that one as a real steal.
Well, it's so because the Atlanta Braves actually went back after Galarraga to play first base. There's a line drive base hit. Rios with a base hit to right. That will play to Aurelia, and the Big Cat ends up at third base.
Third hit of the night for Armando Rios.
Zabel out just to try to eat up some innings to let the offense do something. Here this sinker down and away. Rios, a nice job. The reaction by Zabel, thinking he made a pretty good pitch in that situation. Upset with the fact that he was unable to get the ground ball to get out of this inning.
Aurelia crossed the plate. Galarraga ends up at third. Same situation. Runners at the corners. As Rios has knocked in a couple tonight, he also had a home run early, his 14th home run of the year. Pushing it foul and out of play. Santiago. Benito 1 for 4. Dodgers and Giants could be interesting. Not ruling out the Diamondbacks, but they needed a split. 4 games set against a team, your own division. They had to have a split at home this weekend. In the hole, Williams doing a good job. It's not cut off by Matt Williams. It's an infield single. But still, another run for the Giants, and the RBI base hit by Rios. And a 7-run cushion. Diamondbacks down to their final 6 outs, trailing by 7. And don't forget, next week on Fox Saturday Baseball, most of you will see Ichiro and the Mariners head to Jacobs Field for a matchup against Juan Gonzalez and the Indians, or the Rangers battle the Red Sox. Now, those of you out on the West Coast, you can tune in to see Sammy Sosa and the Cubs take on Sean Green and the Dodgers, with the Mets matching up with the Diamondbacks. That coverage begins this week in baseball, 12:30 Eastern and Pacific on your local Fox affiliate. So check your local listings for the games and start times in your area. It's the way it was at the start of play tonight, because the Dodgers already picked up a victory today, 10-6 over the Rockies.
Well, and again, let's talk about something real quick, Joel. Where you have to watch out is somebody like the Rockies, who have really, really struggled as of late. But what happens? You know they're dangerous at home. You know they can score runs there. When San Francisco comes back, LA comes back, it's going to be hard. It could be a hard situation for them if the Rockies get hot and start to play some baseball. Well, Tim Worrell, the veteran, back in on the mound now for the San Francisco Giants. 45th appearance for him, 1-2 record. Hit innings pitched very good. He's only given up 3 home runs, struck out 40.
He takes over after Aaron Foltz worked a perfect 7th inning. Russ Ortiz trying to raise his record at 12-6. The first 6 innings, giving up all 4 runs, with 3 of the 4 coming in his last inning of work. A 3-run homer by David DeLucci, his 9th of the year, as Worrell deals to Mark Grace strike 1. Grace, Williams, and Finley coming up. Out of play off to the left side. Worrell started with the Padres. And then in one season, talk about bouncing around, 98, was with the Tigers, the Indians, and the A's, all in the same season.
Well, you know, it seems like, and when I say this, that the Giants are able to go find guys like Worrell, Rodriguez, who failed miserably here in Arizona as a closer in the expansion draft, but yet they're able to refine them and develop. And I think a large part of that is Dusty Baker and Dave Righetti. Righetti, the young pitcher that had retired, obviously, earlier than maybe he should have. But Righetti, one of those guys, this ball's going to end up out into the seats. One of those guys that can relate, there's Rex, that he can relate with people. Look at 718 Major League games, 82 wins, the 252 saves came with the Yankees.
And don't forget about the no-hitter among those 82 wins.
I witnessed the no-hitter in New York in 1983. It was a lot of fun to see that. July 4th, as a matter of fact, against the Boston Red Sox.
The dreaded Red Sox. You're a Yankee
That
fan.
was a good day.
0-2 to Grace. Upstairs, lined into center. Bernard just wanted to make sure it didn't get by him. Took it off the shin guards. And it's a leadoff single. First baseman Mark Grace.
Well, it's difficult whenever you're in a ball game 11-4 as a relief pitcher. The last thing you want to do is start walking people. So now you feed that fastball down the middle. Grace able to line drive it. Boy, look at Bernard keep that ball out in front of him. Thought he had an opportunity maybe to catch that baseball. He decided he couldn't. He was able to keep it out front and keep Grace at first base. If that ball gets by him, then Grace off to the races.
Looking for the double play ball. Taylor made off the bat of Matt Williams. 6-4-3, and there's 2 away. So Worrell inducing the ground ball. Worrell had a real solid year for the Cubs. 54 appearances, 2.47 earned run average. He was a setup man. He had 3 saves, but he was a setup man. 52 strikeouts, 62 innings. Knows how to pitch. 33-year-old native of Southern California. And another guy who makes his home in Arizona in the offseason, right outside of the Phoenix area. We talked about a couple of Giants that way. Opportunity if they wanted to. They didn't have to stay at the hotel. They could stay in their own homes.
Well, and really to get home during mid-season and spend time in your own bed is very refreshing. It gives you that opportunity to gas up the engine again as you head down the stretch.
It's a relief. Steve Finley working on a perfect night.
Well, you just spend more time at home with the Giants training here, in the Tucson area and Phoenix area where they play most of their spring training games. Allows you to go home at night to buy 8 more weeks.
Outside edge on the fastball. 2 balls and a strike to Steve Finley. Giants have been down here a long time, just like the Cubs. Indians were in Tucson as well.
Oakland Athletics.
Towering pop-up behind the second base bag for shortstop Rich Aurelio. It finally comes down, and Worrell, like Bolts, effective in relief of Ortiz. So we head to the 9th. The Giants in the driver's seat. 9th inning rolls around at Banklund Ballpark with the Giants looking for the 3rd consecutive victory over the D-backs. Lotriman feat of the game. No shock to see the shortstop of the San Francisco Giants doing it offensively.
2 home runs again. We talked about it. He's back into the 20 home run category, the 3rd straight season that he's been able to accomplish that. 5 RBIs tonight. He now has 56 on the year.
He matched his home run total, as you say, from last season. So way ahead pace-wise.
And Giants getting hot just like they did a year ago at the same time.
Troy Brohan, who worked a scoreless inning in relief last night late in the 8th, comes in a similar situation because that game was a blowout as well, just to get some work in.
And the one that's only usually immune to these type of ball games is your closer.
Now we're talking about the only one who's been shut out offensively for the Giants tonight. Everybody, including pitcher Russ Ortiz, with at least 1 hit. But Ramon Martinez, he's got an RBI. That was on the sacrifice fly on the 6-run 6th. Bouncer in the hole. The console ranges. And it's going to be an 0 for 4 night. You were talking about the young man that's going to get an opportunity to hit now. Calvin Murray, a pick-me-up Marvin Bedard struggling offensively. Murray did get the start last night.
Well, he usually does against left-handers and right-handers that don't throw very hard. Murray has done an outstanding job for Dusty Baker on the year, hitting .275, 5 home runs, and 19 RBIs, and 189 at-bats. He's stolen 6 bases to go along with that.
And this is a guy that's really shown some patience. As he sends a little blooper down the line in right. 7 years in the minors, former first-round pick. An Olympian in '92, an All-American out of Texas, and making the most of his chance with the Giants. But the second out here after only a couple of pitches against Troy Brohan. So 2 down, bases empty. And Marvin Bedard, who's done a little bit of everything for this team.
Boy, hadn't he raised his average 11 points tonight with a 4 for 5 night.
Bounces it foul, strike 1. Well, he's got the speed. They'd love to see him succeed because they need him at the top of the batting order.
Well, they really do, and Dusty wouldn't mind getting into a platoon situation either, to where he could take advantage of Murray and Bernard, give Rios a night off, give Bonds a night off, and you get all 4 of those guys going. Man, oh man.
He had 22 steals last year. Sends this one. It's a good shot deep to center field, and extra bases again for Bernard. It's his 5th hit of the night, a 2-out double. 27 steals the year before, 5. Only 5 steals this year because he just can't get aboard.
Yeah, one more look at the swing of Bernard tonight. He looks like Ty Cobb. Man, oh man. Slider hung right out in the middle of the plate, and he takes advantage of it. Again, the second time he's gone to the deepest part of the park, that in left center field. Now let's take a look at the pitch track now, brought to you by Quest Tech. On all of these base hits, everything right out in the middle of the plate, except for those last 2 balls on the outside half. Those are sliders breaking away from him, and he's been able to get the bad hit out, adjust, and drive into right center field.
First one's over.
Well, if Aurelia is able to get on base, Sean Dunston has come out into the on-deck circle, so that'll be the night for Barry Bonds.
He's knocked in 5 of the 11th. Broke it wide open with a 3-run homer in the 6th. So consistent over the last couple of years. Talked about the deal that brought him from the Texas Rangers. Originally a 24th round pick of the Rangers. Classic case of a sleeper. 29-year-old who's just coming into his best years. He's got a chance for another RBI with 5 already tonight.
Look at this, 18 hits tonight by the Giants offense. That ties the season high.
We talked about over the previous 3 games, George, 29 runs, so making it even 40 now over the last 4. Not a bad average.
Makes it pretty easy to pitch with that kind of offense coming at you.
Don't have to be real fine with your stuff, do you?
No, you don't. And you know, and again, I'm going to credit Dusty Baker with a lot of this, just because he keeps that bench pretty fired up in there. He's still like a little kid playing in the lineup. Wristbands on.
Bender took something off it. Got a full count. Well, the Giants won more games than anybody else in the majors, don't forget, last year with 97 wins. Still, though, they even had their problems last year. On the road, like we've been talking about tonight earlier. Struggling on the road so far this season. They were only 3 over 500 on the road last year at 42 and 39. But dominating 55 and 26 at home. Payoff pitch right down the middle. So a strikeout for Brohan. and we head to the bottom of the ninth. So one of the few squandered opportunities for Aurelia and the Giants tonight, leaving a man in scoring position. Bottom of the ninth for the D-backs. FX Baseball Saturday night, brought to you by Lotrimin AF. Get the cure that's proven to kill athlete's foot on the whole foot. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure. We head to the bottom of the ninth at Bank One Ballpark in Phoenix. A one-sided affair almost from the beginning, even though through 4, it was only 2-1. The Giants had the opportunities, had the momentum, and looked like they were really dictating the tempo for the Diamondbacks in their home ballpark as Chad Zerbe, the left-hander, becomes the 4th pitcher of the night for San Francisco.
3-0 record, a 433 earned run average. Zerbe's done a nice job for the Giants, filling in once they traded away Alan Embry. They needed another lefty in the bullpen, and he has complimented full.
David DeLucci coming up empty, strike 1. Pinch hitter coming up next in the pitcher's spot in the batting order. And then he'll be followed by Damian Miller. Danny Batista getting an opportunity.
Well, Barry Bonds went out of the ball game. Sean Dunston went to center field, and Marvin Bernard moved over to left field. Excuse me, Calvin Murray. I apologize. Calvin Murray into center field.
Foul straight back, 2 balls, 2 strikes to the leadoff man. And we remind you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Count even to the leadoff man. Nothing even about this 4-game series, though, between Arizona and San Francisco. And DeLucci is gone. And some pretty good heat, Chad Zerbe.
Yeah, it really was. The movement created it, and the delivery created fooling DeLucci, and he doesn't see an awful lot of left-handed pitchers, but good job by Zerbe to paint that outside corner.
Dusty's guys have looked good out of the pen tonight. First Aaron Foltz, Tim Worrell, Chad Zerbe, all working an inning. And the pinch hitter in the pitcher spot in the batting order for the Diamondbacks, as we mentioned, is going to be a part-time player, Danny Batista. Solid numbers coming off the bench. Strike 1. The Diamondbacks get ready for Randy Johnson tomorrow against Sean Estes. Estes at 7-5 so far this year for the Giants with a 3.40 earned run average.
For Estes on the year, in 119 innings, 58 walks, and what happens, he'll have 1, maybe 2 bad innings in the first 3 or 4, where he'll walk men. He doesn't give up a lot of base hits, but he'll walk 1 or 2, and then the base hit, they come around to score. It happened to him in Colorado. It happened to him in San Francisco in a ball game. Zerbe with a cut fastball, getting in on the pitcher.
Boy, he really ate up Batista that time, in on the bat handle for the second out. The D-backs down to their final out of the contest, trailing by 7. What's your hunch right now as we approach the 1st of August, the final 8 weeks of the season? Do you see the momentum with the Dodgers and the Giants a lot more than the Arizona Diamondbacks? Cause for concern for Arizona?
Well, I think there's some cause for concern from Arizona just because of the pitching staff of the Giants doing so well, and the pitching staff from 1 through 5 of the Dodgers, where in Arizona right now they can count on, we showed you the numbers earlier, 27 wins combined between Schilling and Johnson. The rest of them 12 games under 500. That's a big number. So you can count on 1 or 2 guys. That's great, but you need 3, 4, and 5 to pick up your pace there, where the Giants have that, and so do the Los Angeles Dodgers. Again, we discussed it. Will they go to a 4-man rotation fairly soon to get Johnson and Schilling on the mound as much as they can?
Yeah, I think what's shocked everybody about what the Dodgers are doing right now. You talked about Gagne and Prokopech and a couple of the other youngsters that are starting, Terry Adams as well. they're all in their mid to late 20s at the most. So the Dodgers, all of a sudden, finding out a lot about these kids.
Well, they picked up Baldwin, a guy that went through a pennant chase last year with the Chicago White Sox. They're still looking to make a move for one more starter, if it's affordable, if they can put him into that into their high payroll that they have already. And don't forget, Kevin Brown still says, I'll be back in 1 to 2 weeks. Watch me. I'll get back in the first week of August, and I'll be ready to go.
They said he'd be gone 4, so that would make him about 2 weeks away. The problem with the elbow. Damian Miller fouls it away. Ball and 2 strikes. Bases empty, bottom of the ninth, 7-run lead for San Francisco. It'll be their 4th consecutive victory on the road, their 3rd straight over the Diamondbacks.
And I think another key part of all of that, if your manager doesn't panic or show any panic, I think the rest of the ball club will perform to that level. So you got 2 young managers, 2 rookie managers in Tracy and in Brindley. Both guys played the game, both know how it works. But then you got Dusty Baker that's been through those wars and be able to keep his ball club up and running all the way through this pennant chase till the very end.
As long as he doesn't swallow that toothpick, they're safe.
Yeah.
He's a classic, isn't he? And a fitting way for a dominating performance. A fitting ending for the San Francisco Giants. You have to feel great about their prospects now.
Well, you really do. I mean, Ortiz comes up. He wins his 12th ball game. Lopez, you guys can't be happy with this outing tonight. His first in the National League, first in his hometown. They walk away here, the Giants, an 11-4 winner with 18 hits on the night.
So you think of Levon Hernandez, Sean Estes is the big guy of the Giant staff? Well, it's turning out to be Russ Ortiz for San Francisco with his 12th win of the year. So a 7-run win for the San Francisco Giants. And don't forget to tune into Fox Family's Thursday Night Baseball as the Indians match up with the Oakland A's. The coverage all starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. And FX Baseball Saturday night continues next week. The Kansas City Royals taking on the Minnesota Twins. Once again, that one will start at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Coming up next on FX, UFO's Best Evidence. For George Frazier, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us.